Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What is up, Panther fans? Welcome back to the C3 Panthers Podcast. Tonight's show, Josh Norman answers the call for the Carolina Panthers. He did answer the call. The Panthers are the only ones calling, but they need some help in the secondary as they're coming off a 37-23 win over the Detroit Lions that keeps them in playoff contention. You look at those 23 points and you go, man, that game was probably a game. No, it wasn't. It was a beatdown. It was 34-13 with 3 minutes and 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And the Carolina Panthers literally ran all over the Detroit Lions. They knew that's what they were going to try to do. They couldn't stop it. This offensive line went berserko. The running backs went crazy. And Panther fans on Christmas Eve probably were going nuts. I couldn't believe 37 points, an explosion, Sam Darnold running, juking, RPOing, optioning it. It was crazy, Cody Lashney. It is December 27th, 2022, and we have hope. We have excitement. We have something to talk about on the C3 Panthers podcast tonight, Cody Lashney. My wheel man, Merry Christmas to you and Happy New Year.
Very Merry Christmas, man. And listen, did you not feel the energy? Because I'm feeling it, baby. Josh Norman back in the building, has unfinished business with the Carolina Panthers. Tampa Bay, we're going to Tampa, and they look like doo-doo right now. And the Carolina Panthers are in contention for the NFC South for the first time since I can even remember, Tony. It has been far too long, and we have so much to talk about. And as usual, we're going to do it with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. You already know them and love them. We got Young Honcho, our man Drew, Alex Mex Pro, Anthony Price, AU Link, Bill Dotrieve, Blind Panther Blogs, Craig Cartner, Dan Floyd, D's Ill Skills, KV73s, Panther Gal, Lawrence Trevette, The Stats, Vibes, Squad Down Production, and Tim Estes, Tony Dunn, and nothing to it but to do it, brother. We got Panther football. Let's roll.
Let me close this. The Panthers did not have to pass the ball on the first drive as they ran for a touchdown. The entire first drive, CK, was runs, and they just ran it right up the gut and destroyed them, going up 7 points. Didn't pull away right away with that game, but did not have to pass the ball until there was only 6 minutes and 53 seconds left in the first quarter.
Yeah, it was an incredible outing. This offensive line was playing fucking bully with that defensive line. There's Aiden Hutchinson. Who was that? Who was Aiden Hutchinson? I mean, like, dude was non-existent in this game. You know, I saw a couple of clips of Icky manhandling that boy, making him look like he was going back to junior college, bro. This offensive line made this defense that is run by Dan Campbell, that is supposed to be just, we're gonna bite your knees off, we're gonna fight you. No, Dan Campbell at the end had to basically just suck on the big balls of Steve Wilkes to talk about how great that coaching was. That was an ass whooping. And I tell you what, listen, I better not hear a single fucking person come after me for my take about Deontay Foreman and him versus Christian McCaffrey. I better not see one fucking person. Listen. He had one. Hold on. He had one bad game, and every one of you fuckers came after me saying, like, what a horrible take. He's had way more games of this type of success, if not, not obviously this to this level, but he has had way more games that he's played than he had against the Steelers, right? So you guys need to get on the train of Deontay Foreman and talk about how great he is. He and Chuba Hubbard, got to give him his props this week. He's had 2 weeks in a row. He's had 2 weeks in a row where he's been able to do a pretty good amount of I'm sorry, not in a row, but he's had a few weeks of successful football that we haven't seen from him in the past. Man, I tell you what, we were clicking on all cylinders. There's only a few concerns I have for this team right now, but it is hard not to look at this team and think, oh wait, we have to beat the Bucks. Check. We've already beaten them 21-3.
And don't count your chickens before.
Hold on. We already beat them 21-3, and that 3 was at the end of the game. We held them scoreless in the first half, which is the first time that's ever happened in Tom Brady's history of anything. Now, granted, that was because of a major drop at the beginning of the game where Mike Evans was ahead of walk-in touchdown. But nonetheless, we held them scoreless. And then we got to face the New Orleans Saints, who, by the way, will probably be eliminated next week when they face the Eagles. I don't care if it is Gardner Minshew or if it's Jalen Hurts. They are not. The way that Eagles team held up against the Cowboys tells me that the Saints do not have a prayer against that team. And so I'm not concerned about the final 2 games as much as I would be. I'm going to be going into this with a lot of confidence, with a lot of high expectations for this team, man, and I can't help but feel excited about where we're at.
And Tony, real quick, but to add on to CK's Deonta Foreman rant, this is from Will Kunkel. Deonta Foreman has 5 games this season of 100+ rushing yards. 1 more, and he ties Christian McCaffrey at 6, 2019, when CMC did it, for 3rd most 100-yard rushing games in the season. If he rushes for 100+ in the final 2, he ties Steven Davis for the 2nd most in Panther history. So let's go, baby. We're rushing the ball, damn it.
All right, we've got a great show for you guys tonight. We'll be talking about this win over the Lions and how the Panthers were able to run into this victory. We've got playoff talk. Potentially tickets are for sale, and the Buccaneers are up next, and we got to beat them to stay in it. If they beat us, they clinch. We've got new additions with Josh Norman being added to the team in the call of 2014, has called back, and the Panthers trying to get that home playoff game by winning the division in the wild card round. So we got a lot of cool things. We got your cat calls at 252-228-5098. And we've also got a lot of news from around the NFL, from Russell Wilson's failure to, I guess, be a football player, to getting their coach fired already. They're in shambles. There's a lot of also interesting things popping around the news. Even Baker Mayfield back in the news. It was an offensive week for the Panthers, and Mayfield said, hey, I want a little of that action too, putting up a lot of points in LA that helped get that Hackett fired. So we got all that coming, but don't forget, tonight's show is brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped is the #1 men's grooming product below the belt, where you can make sure to keep your nether regions, or the regions you want to be the real regions of attention, under control, right? I went to Avatar today and saw the new Avatar with my kids, and they call them the Hallelujah Mountains.
Yeah.
The floating mountains, the Hallelujah Mountains. Why don't you say hallelujah? Wouldn't you love for her to say hallelujah when she saw your balls? Man, she would say it when they look great, greatly groomed with a Manscaped product. Don't forget, they've got a lot of other products from ball deodorant to I guess, what else do they got? They got the lawnmower 4.0,
Nose hair trimmer.
yeah, they got all of this. They got underwear, they got t-shirts. You can go to manscaped.com and use the promo code Panthers, and you get 20% off and free shipping. This is a good opportunity to I guess maybe ladies think about Valentine's Day coming up, and think about this is maybe even give the gift to them early, and you say, hey, I want to see Hallelujah Balls, not Hallelujah Mountains, right? 3D is what I saw the movie in today. Let her see Hallelujah Balls in 3D by using the promo code Panthers at manscaped.com. Cody Lashney, let's get into the show. I guess the big news is Josh Norman is being added to the Panthers. Before we get into the Lions game, yesterday, news came out that Jaycee Horn, we had heard that Jaycee Horn had suffered an injury in the Lions game towards the end of the game.
Yep.
And this kind of continued to add to not only a weak secondary, but depleted secondary as it is. And the Carolina Panthers needed to add some bodies. There was even one story I saw floating around that they claimed a guy from Chicago off of waivers, and he declined. He was like, I don't want to come to Carolina, which I thought was wild. And on top of that, but the Panthers needed a presence. Steve Wilkes, I guess, made the call to Josh Norman and said, hey, can you come and play a little zone defense for us? Jaycee Horn, Josh Norman. Your thoughts, Cody Lashney?
Well, one, look, man, how are you not happy about the return of Josh Norman, man? Regardless of what you think about how he left or what he did with other football teams, this man was a part of the most dynamic, most hard-hitting, most Thieves Avenue, stealing the football Panther defense that we have ever had, man. And yes, it's very sad that we're going to be losing Jaycee Horn. And we're going to talk about that in a minute because we might not be without JC for the rest of the season. But listen, man, let me let you hear from the man himself, Josh Norman.
Fellas, we back in the building. It's live. It's your boy J024, aka The Dark Knight. Let's go get him. We got a chance, man. We got a chance to get in that dance. And we wouldn't be back if that wasn't the case, all right? Let's go. And always keep pounding.
Keep pounding. And it goes back to that culture thing that we've been talking about so much with Steve Wilkes. These guys know the culture. They know what the Panthers brand of football actually is. And man, I'm excited because Josh Norman played his best football under Steve Wilkes when Steve Wilkes was his defensive back coach. I mean, listen, I think that I don't know what other player we could want to come in right now that would do for us what I think Josh Norman could. Now, I don't know how many snaps we're going to see him in this Sunday versus Tampa Bay. I probably wouldn't imagine too many. But listen, if we have a chance, you want Josh Norman on your team. I mean, we all remember everything he did during that 2015 season and just how dynamic he was and what a veteran presence he was to that locker room. This is Shaq Thompson talking about his veteran presence and what that means.
I think it's a great replacement.
Ping pong,
Fucking
man.
ping pong table.
The replacements here, but like I said, veteran presence. You know what I mean? Who's been in big time moments and big time games. You know what I mean? Who knows how to play under pressure. And it's good to see him here. It's good to have him back in these colors. You know what I mean? Good for him to be home, and can't wait to have him out there.
So people are excited. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up just to kind of remind people how good Josh Norman was when he was here with the Carolina Panthers, specifically that last year in 2015. This man went against DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Evans, T.Y. Hilton, Dez Bryant, and Julio Jones, and only gave up 89 yards, 9 catches, and no touchdowns. Now, we're not necessarily dealing with the Josh Norman of 2015, but listen, our defense is playing strong. Our offense is running the football. To me, this is absolutely one of the most perfect signings that the Panthers have ever made late in the season for our product on the football field and for the culture in general, man. I love it.
I love it too, mainly because when you saw him leave the Panthers, he fell off of a cliff because it felt like the way that our coaches handled him was significant to his ability to play at a high level. And what I think is most important to realize is who was his coach.
Steve Wilks.
Steve Wilks. Steve Wilks knows who he is, knows his strengths, and he's going to play to those strengths. He's not bringing Josh Norman in to be a lockdown man-to-man cover corner that's going to, keep the game in check, right? He knows that's not who he is. He wasn't that here. A lot of people want to say that he was, but he played a lot of zone. He wasn't always man-to-man with the best receivers, but he was in a system that allowed him to flourish. That's not a knock on him. That's just saying his strengths are a certain place, and I think Wilks knows how to use him the most effective way. He's been in every other team you can think of, and he hasn't had the same success. I think I'm looking forward to seeing what Wilks is able to do with him at the helm. Man, it's exciting to see that. I think I'm just excited to see the energy he brings to the table, man. This dude, a lot of people just forget, this dude was vocal. This dude was a leader. This dude was entertaining. It's just it's nice to have some energy injected on this defense.
I don't want to. First, the only reason this is cool is because of nostalgia. I don't want to hear like Wilks can use him, knows how to use him. Nobody else knew. He played for the Bills for a little while, and Sean McDermott, I think, understood how to use him. He was the defensive coordinator in that 2015 season.
But Josh Norman also wasn't signed there to be a number one cornerback either.
Right. He wasn't. The problem was he was put on a team. He actually played all right at times with the Redskins at the time, but then, is that you want him to be a number one corner? He never really was. Like, he was just a good cornerback. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, he would have been great to have another solid corner on the other side. Right. Like, if he could have been in his prime alongside a guy like Jaycee Horn, those guys could do damage. I think when you try to make him the singular guy, that was the problem when you make him the lead. But, I mean, he was a fine player for a lot of those teams. They always took a drudgeon. A cornerback always gets they're the hero or the zero. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he made some big time plays and big moments that made him a hero for us. You see that Saints game, people talk about that one where he made that big interception at the end in 2015.
He had some big plays, dude. Yeah, I wouldn't watch that top 10.
Yeah, the opening game in 2015 was on the road in Jacksonville. I was at that game, and he had a pick six at the very beginning of the game, and it just completely changed the entire dynamic of the game. So, look, the thing is though, that was 7 years ago. He didn't play football last year, right?
Right.
So he's a year removed. The Panthers are the only people calling. I think the real story here, though, is how dire the conditions are for the Carolina Panthers secondary. I think that's the bigger story for me is that, look, is Jaycee Horn suffered a broken wrist in this game against the Lions, and he was the only good corner we had. Right. You had 2 weeks ago people wanting to drag out Keith Taylor and shoot him in the streets. Then last week, CJ Henderson looked like a bum. If the Panthers wouldn't have had two things happened in that game against the Lions, and the game could have been a completely different game. And the first one that changed the whole game was the Goff fumble in the red zone that was recovered by the Panthers, because the Panthers went up 7 in that game. The Lions responded with a 7. Then the Lions drove down the field again, and we're about to potentially take the lead in that game, and which would have created a completely different circumstance for that game. Jared Goff fumbles that ball, but the Panthers secondary gave up some big plays in that game before Jaycee Horn was hurt, and it wasn't because Jaycee Horn was playing bad. I mean, there was one play where he was in the screen. I don't think it was really his fault. I don't think there was any help over the top on a different guy. But the Panthers secondary stinks.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. Is it stinks. it stunk with Jaycee Horn in there, and not because he stunk. I don't want you to get it twisted that I'm saying he stunk, but they gave up a 3rd and 14 2 weeks ago. The Lions were gashing them at will, man. They were making big plays in that game.
Well, I would say that Keith Taylor had a lot to do 2 weeks ago and why that game got so bad. And part of the point and why I like Josh Norman is you have a tenured veteran who has played a lot of football. He has played his best football with Steve Wilkes. And fact of the matter, I trust him more than I do Keith Taylor. I mean, that's a simple fact. We don't have Dante Jackson. Now we know we don't have Jaycee Horn, but we're going to need every single person that we can to try and fight for this NFC South championship now that we have it on the line. What does make it a little bit easier is that Tom Brady is not throwing the football well right now. If you look at that guy, he doesn't lack for arm talent, but he's just not accurate. I don't know what it is. It seems like he's not on the same page with a lot of his receivers. And one of the things that was brought up in the chat by Zero Chill, Josh Norman last year had a career high 7 forced fumbles. Listen, Josh Norman, he really took to that peanut punch that Charles Tillman taught him those years ago for the Panthers. So if you're talking about an opportunistic defense that's taking away the football, that is playing aggressive, hopefully we'll be playing with the lead because we're rushing the football better. I mean, look, I know things haven't been great for the Panthers, but it does make me hopeful that we are still fighting for something and that we have the players that can do it and that can even have a boost added to their performances when you give them a player like Josh Norman that's been around so much high-level football.
I think
I was mistaken. Josh Norman did play. I said he didn't play the last year. He hasn't played this season. He did play for San Francisco. Like you guys said, he had 7 forced fumbles. The old Peanut Tillman veteran edition.
Do you want to hear something? So number one, going against the Cardinals secondary and doing what Tom Brady did is just laughable. I heard a stat today, and this is a mind-blowing stat. At one point, I think it was probably about pretty much at the end of the third quarter, Tom Brady had thrown for like 210 yards. 202 of that was yards after the catch.
Holy cow.
So what that should tell you is he literally was throwing screen pass after screen pass after screen pass after screen pass for multiple reasons. Number one, if you look at Brady's arm, he has not got the same level of talent with his arm that he's had in recent years.
True.
First and foremost. I mean, it's just he's overthrowing people, underthrowing people. He's just not making correct reads. He's not the same Tom Brady. All right, that out of the way. Number two, he doesn't have an offensive line, which means our defensive line is going to get home very quickly, which is why they're getting the ball out quickly. I think having a veteran presence like Josh Norman is going to be able to see that, recognize that, and we've seen it in 2015. He jumped a lot of routes. He jumped at least 2 and took them to the house for pick sixes. So there is some opportunity here, and we've got to do what we need to, so one of the things that we know is going to be the case. We failed against the Bengals. They don't have a good offensive line. We do not need to be playing off man. We do not need to be playing off man because that is going to give the ball game to the Bucs. We cannot play into their hands that way. We need to play up man-to-man press coverage. I mean, just off the line at least, and then you can drop back into cover, whatever you need to do. But you need to not let those easy receptions come into play because that is where I think Tom Brady can gash you. So we gotta take away his first read so our line can get to him.
Yeah, and real quick before I forget about it, thank you to Stephen Lane for the $1.99 love bomb. Says a nice hello and a nice wave to everybody. We appreciate you, Stephen Lane. And I wanted to ask you guys before we brush past it. Jaycee Horn did have the surgery today, but they're not going to comment yet as to whether or not he's going to return or not. And it's funny because you think of Thomas Davis in that 2015 season, right? Broke his arm in the NFC Championship game. He basically told him, hey, man, tape that bitch up. I ain't missing the Super Bowl, man. We got stuff to do. I wonder if Jaycee Horn will be in the position to do the same thing. I know defensive back uses your hands a lot more than a linebacker does, I would think. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you hopeful that Jaycee Horn comes back, or do you think this is the last that we have seen of him?
I think he comes back, especially if we win this game. Number one, they're not ruling him out for this week either. By the way, like they haven't. Like Steve Wilkes wouldn't say that he's not going to play this week. That'd be fucking asinine if he comes in and he plays. But nonetheless, they haven't said that he's going to miss. But if we win this game, I am telling you with the utmost certainty, and barring some crazy situation, he is going to play for this team again. If we make it to the play, if we beat the Bucs this week, he might make a push to play against the Saints. It's going to be tough because he's not going to be able to have that the ability to catch the balls as easily. It's still going to be there potentially, but it's not going to be as guaranteed as it would otherwise. But this isn't a foot injury. This isn't a leg injury. This isn't something that is going to be impacting his ability to run with receivers. It's not going to impact his reach. He's going to still be able to have the same reach, if not maybe a little bit longer if they put a cast on there. I'm confident, man. He can come in and play and do just as good a job as he's doing. He had been doing all year. I don't want to pivot too much, but I think it's important that we talk about this past week. The defense is a question mark, but I'm telling you right now, I am so sold on what our offense did. There's another thing that you guys need to keep in mind with this way this offense played. We had more 20-yard plays in one game than the NFL has seen in 10 years.
Dude, that's unreal. It's unreal that we're talking about the same team that we were watching at the start of this year.
But here's the thing.
That did that.
There was some runs, but a lot of it was the passing game. Sam Darnold was fucking balling out. I do not want any. Here's the thing. I'm not crowning the guy, but it is hard to argue with what he's put on tape in the past 4 weeks. Even in that loss against the Steelers, Sam Darnold was not the reason we lost. He played very good in that game. And so when you combine 4 games now, we have 4 games of Sam Darnold doing things. He hasn't thrown the ball. He hasn't thrown a pick. This is the first time in this many games he hasn't thrown a pick. He's got over 100 quarterback rating. He's pushing 1,000 yards in just the 4 games that he's played. If you trend over that 4 games, what he would be playing, what his stats would be at the end of the year if he had played all 17, this dude would actually have been like a top 10 quarterback from a stats perspective. Like that's just something to keep in mind. I mean, and I know it's hard to say that because Sam Darnold is it's only 4 games, right? And who have we played? Who has he played? Right? I get those questions, but we have played the Seahawks. We have played the Steelers, who have a good defense. We played the Broncos, who have a good defense, regardless of what happened this past week with the Rams. That had more to do with the fact that Russell Wilson looks like absolute fucking garbage. Like 3 or 4 picks that gave them just perfect, it was amazing, right? They had every situation set up for them. So the Broncos defense was torched because of their offense inability to actually do anything. So I mean, we went up against good defenses, and Sam Darnold played a pretty good game against all of them. They didn't ask him to do too much early on, but the past 2 games he's thrown the ball down the field and he's connected on a lot of those deep passes.
I think that so much of Sam Darnold, the opinion on him was painted by last year. And the fact that we didn't draft Justin Fields and we went with Sam Darnold, and he was not good last year. And everybody wants to continue to keep the same opinion. Let me not say everyone, but it frustrates me when I see it from other Panther fans not wanting to give Sam Darnold the credit that he deserves for playing so much better than he has last year. Look, be where your feet are. Forget about next year. Forget about the future of the franchise. Right now, Sam Darnold is our quarterback, and he has done more than we ever imagined that he could have for this Carolina Panthers team. I thought that PJ Walker was going to end up having the best performances of the year by a Carolina Panther quarterback, and I believed that wasn't going to change. But dude, Sam Darnold has changed my mind. Feared the beard. He has grown the beard out. He's feeling confident in his own abilities and what he's able to do. And the most important thing is that we're still not asking him to do a ton. And part of
Right.
that is because the Panthers, and I don't care what anyone says, I believe the Panthers have the best rushing attack in the NFL right now. When we're firing, Tony, when we're firing on all cylinders, I dare you to name a team that is running the football better than the Carolina Panthers. I'm telling you, they don't exist.
All right. Look, I think Sam, look, is what you're with Sam Darnold, you're seeing what the rush of the internet does at times, and that is to make declarations that put bookmark or embarks or bookends on people's careers prematurely. So I mean, like, is that people just said Sam Darnold's a bum instead of saying he didn't play well last year, and no one on the team did, suffered injury, a disaster of a situation. I'm not ready to look. Is that I think that Sam Darnold has done a great job with the moment he's been given. Is he's not gotten out over his skis. He has not turned the ball over. And you're right, they have not asked him to do a lot. And that's a good thing, and we shouldn't really diss on him either, because he's got a good offensive line and the run game is doing well. Thank goodness. I mean, in fact, this is actually what having a well-balanced team and the offense can do for you. Is we bludgeoned them in the first half of that game, just gashing big run after big run after big run. And they came out, and the game was within 2 scores when we opened the second half, I think.
Right.
So it's not out of hands. It felt higher because it was a 14-point lead, or a 16-point lead, but it's still 2 scores. I mean, like, it's not. There's time. And what they did is they came out in the third quarter and had to sell out against a run, and that's when they hit them over the top with the DJ play.
Yeah.
And that single coverage down the same, wasn't he? DJ, this is what's been awesome about some of these deep runs by Terrace Marshall Jr. or DJ. They don't even make a move on the guy. They just run straight. And it's because the rest of the team is worried about the run.
Right.
That it's just like, oh man, just air it out. And I just got to outrun this fool. So look, I'm happy for Sam Darnold. This is actually the Sam Darnold we had hoped
we would be getting when we
last year. Yeah, is that it was like, oh, you give him a running attack with Christian McCaffrey, and and all of this. And really, it just comes down to that team was a fucking mess last year, man. And it was a mess earlier this year.
Sure.
Yes.
Let's be honest, is that despite us being the greatest part about us having hope on this podcast right now on 12/27/22 is that 6 weeks ago or 8, before, at the end of the Matt Rule era, it felt like a big bucket of turd. Like, it was just like like that house is burning down emoji where the guy's just sitting in there in the whole house. It feels like there's an old Dr. Seuss book where, God, what is the one where the thing 1 and thing 2? Yeah, thing 1 and thing 2 come in and ruin the house. And it's like you're like the parents are pulling up the driveway and the whole house is disaster inside. It was a fucking mess just 6 weeks ago.
Bad. Bad.
So I think that's what's awesome about this story with Sam Darnold and this team is
Right.
like what a completely different product it is from the running attack, from the game, the everything. Everything has been better. And I think that just kind of goes to show. And let's go ahead and pull up that Wilkes Derek Brown comment. These guys are noticing this.
Oh,
The guys are recognizing this. And Derek Brown today on Good Morning Football said, quote, "I'll speak for everybody in that locker room and say that we want Wilkes to be our next head coach." The Carolina Panthers, as someone in the chat said, "Oh, you guys, I remember distinctly people on this podcast saying the Lions were going to run us." Really, no one had the Panthers beating the Lions. They weren't favored in the game.
Right.
So it is an upset in theory. You had a team that had won 5 or 6 out of their last 7 or 5 out of their last 6 or whatever it was. There was really not a lot of evidence to point to the Carolina Panthers saying, other than thinking with your heart instead of your head, to say, oh, we should just pick the Panthers. The Panthers, though, have locked arms this season.
Yeah.
And much like Jonathan Stewart, man, doesn't it come kind of circle back to that Jonathan Stewart interview we had, guys, where he talked about no one else believe in you, everybody else giving up on you, and you're in that locker room and you believe in you, though, and Wilkes knows how to tap into that. And I think he's got these guys believing in themselves.
Oh, absolutely. Look, but Derek, I have said earlier this year, I don't know what other coach could have come in and taken this band of misfit toys and turned them around into the badasses that we're looking at on the field right now.
It's like the Bad News Bears.
Yeah, this team is believing in itself.
Mighty Ducks.
And it's because of Steve Wilkes. I mean, listen, you can go up and down the board. Everyone that we have wanted more from, we have seen come under Steve Wilkes. Chuba Hubbard has had better performances under Steve Wilkes. Hey, Terrace Marshall Jr. is now looking like the guy that we drafted him to be, the long, tall receiver that can go up and make a play, but is also fast down the field. Has been spectacular. Say what you want, Tony, but even my man Shi Smith keeps on trending up as well. I think that it's a sign of a good head coach when you have a bunch of players that we didn't believe in before. Now, all of a sudden, they're looking like legitimate pieces that are going to help us compete for the NFC Championship. I think you have to give Steve Wilkes the job. Technically, right now, the Carolina Panthers have to interview 2 other minority head coaching candidates. If they're on other teams, you're not allowed to meet with those coaches until after the wild card matches are over. So I would say sometime around this time next month, we're going to know for sure whether the Panthers are going to go with Steve Wilkes or hire a new head coach. I got to be honest, if David Tepper decided to go with another head coach in spite of Steve Wilkes over everything that he has done, it might be the most tone-deaf move that he could possibly make as the owner of the Carolina Panthers. I think the answer is clear. Pretty much no matter what happens from here on out, Tony. I mean, I know that's a lot because even if we look terrible in the last 2 games, you want to know what we do in those 2 performances first. But I want to see Steve have an off season, a draft, and a free agency to build this team the way that he wants to. And I think that he has earned that right.
Yeah, we've talked about the Wilkes stuff a lot on this podcast. And, a few weeks ago, it felt like at times that he had done already enough to secure things. The Pittsburgh Steelers loss at home in a moment where you really needed a win and would have been very helpful going into this week to control your own destiny going into the playoffs. That one was a sobering loss that may have told us that we need to think with our head and not our heart, and at least not only but I mean, consider other candidates potentially, maybe, I guess. But what I also said on this podcast last week is that you can tell that Wilkes knows that these games right now that he's coaching are more important than any interview that he's going to do in 2 months are. And right now, each game that he wins, it makes it harder and harder, like you said, for any other candidate to be a realistic option. And it would just have to be already. I think at this point, it would have to be right now a splashy name to the effect of like a Harbaugh or a Peyton or a Sean Payton, which I don't think any of those could. I don't think the Sean Payton could happen. So we don't even need to get into that. But like it would take a name that came with that had a certain pizzazz, panache, or whatever the word is to make this Wilkes case go away. And I just don't think it can. I mean, this guy's done a lot.
If it was anybody, even if it was Sean Payton, if you went with anybody that's not Steve Wilkes and they happen to be white, you are in trouble.
Yeah.
Especially after what you're seeing Wilkes do this year. Like, that's the thing, is it'd be different if Wilkes wasn't like coaching his ass off. If he didn't have these teams playing with these players playing with every fiber of their being, like trying to come out there and do things in a lost season that people thought we were tanking. These guys have come out here and turned it around. They have looked competent in pretty much every level of football that you can ask for. Even the parts that we have been the most critical of, we have looked competent. Hell, we even want to go as far as looking at Corey Littleton. If you look at his PFF, like, I know he's not making splash plays, but the dude is a solid linebacker for us.
Well, it's been good. We haven't said the linebackers' names a lot, which is maybe a is a good thing and a bad thing.
It's a good thing.
At least they're not playing well.
Yeah.
Man,
whenever we say their names, it means they're fucking up pretty hard.
Right. I mean, and look, even Xavier Woods was out there wrecking people in this game, dude. Right. It was awesome. Yeah. But you're right, as Wilkes, it would be bizarre. I mean, like, it would be a crazy story for him to not get this job right now.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to see right now, and I don't even care about even thinking about the coach at this point. I need 2 weeks in a row of this play together.
We did get it. We got it 2 weeks in a row with the Bucks or the Broncos and the Seahawks.
I need it now when it matters.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, good God. I mean, and not that I care that, like, if we don't get it, it's going to give me any caution or pause. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I just need us to have this game again next week against the damn Buccaneers. So we could get in the damn playoffs, and that we can give a good kind of segue to our next topic. The Carolina Panthers are going to be hosting. I mean, not hosting. It's are we on the road in this game?
Yeah, we're on the road.
So we're going to Tampa. Wilkes on the road with this team, continuing his audition for the head coaching position. And you go and win this game, and you're thinking another nail in the coffin of Matt Rule and David, like, or whatever. I'm trying to say is it's a spike that dang Steve Wilkes is driving into the ground. And getting into the playoffs is the spike all the way completed, right? Like that golden spike they did at what was the name of the where they joined the Transcontinental Railroad? Like they hit it with a silver hammer. We're gonna have Wilkes hit it with a silver hammer if we make the playoffs, and he's got to beat the Bucks, because if the Bucks beat us next week, they clinch.
They
win the division. They win the division, right?
Or
if
they
beat
they
win the division.
They haven't. However, so if they beat us, they win the division. If we beat them, we still haven't necessarily won the division yet.
Right.
We would have
because they can win and then we lose, and
well, and the Saints play into this too. The Saints play Philly. If for whatever reason the Saints do beat Philadelphia, then that would mean the final game of the season would be determining who the winner of the NFC South is between us and the Saints.
If we don't win this week, we don't have a chance.
Right. Every game that we play, every single game that the Carolina Panthers play from here on out is move it or lose it, baby. We have to have it. It's playoff football. And look at here, we're the betting underdog on the road right now.
13.5 points?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, I
That's
saw.
no way that's the case.
They're favored.
I looked it up right
According
before
to
the
this
show.
graphic, I'm gonna check one.
There's because it went down to 3.5 after because it opened up at 5.5.
Yeah. I mean,
If it's 13 and a
I
half,
pulled,
you should run out and buy those right now.
Yeah, you should get that immediately. That's
11 hours
basically
ago. Let's see
that's
when
like
this is.
that would be the I feel like that would be the type of spread that you would see when the Houston Texans play the Kansas City Chiefs.
The bucket. Oh, according to SI Sportsbook, the Buccaneers are 3-point favorites with the total currently set at 39.5 for the over under. Wonder where the hell that 13.5 spread came from.
I mean, I pulled this up on. It was like one of the top search results, and
Wow.
and this popped up. Either way, we are underdogs in this performance. Like
3
we are.
points right now.
Yeah, they're saying that the Panthers are the underdogs, which, by the way, I love. Literally every circumstance that we wanted happened for us. We're not playing in prime time, which is, the Panthers have traditionally not been good in prime time spots. There were rumors that they were going to flex us up, and that ended up not being the case. The Fox protected our game. And the fact that we're underdogs, the Panthers always play better when we're the underdogs. So to me, this is absolutely perfect for us, man. You know, I kind of feel CK like, yeah, they're getting home field advantage, but they're also getting the Tom Brady advantage.
Yeah.
Like just giving him the benefit of the doubt, which, I understand. It's Tom Brady. But but right now, I don't see what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do on paper that's supposed to threaten us. Maybe if you say, well, there's no Jaycee Horn out there, so maybe that means they get their passing attack going. But another important thing to point out in the trenches, they're not going to have Vita Vea. At least it's looking like they're not going to have Vita
Right.
Vea. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are down to their third string left tackle. Like they are so injured on their offensive line. We
Right.
have so many opportunities to play aggressive, get after the quarterback, and whip up on their asses, man. This is a golden opportunity for us to cement that we deserve to win the NFC South.
Yeah, there's no lies detected there, man. I think that this is an opportunity to prove it, right? I don't know that we've proven that we deserve it yet. We've proven that we have fight in us, right? As a Panthers team, but have we shown that McAdoo can outcoach some of the top defensive coordinators in the league? Now, I know we're not necessarily doing that here, but we can't say that we have, without a shadow of a doubt, proven that we deserve to win the NFC South title. This is an opportunity for us to turn the tides, make not even just a win, but a convincing win. I think that's an important part to this. We need to have a convincing win so that people are talking about the Panthers as being actual contenders and not coming into the playoffs with a 13-point underdog mentality at home against somebody like the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would stink. But look, if there's a time to do it, it's here.
Yeah.
Tom Brady is dead. And I hope I didn't jinx us by saying that, but they really have not been able since like week 6 to do anything on offense. Right. If even, I mean, it is just the only thing that they have right now. This is how they've won any of their games in the last 6 weeks, it feels like, or really any of their games all season, is it's been within one score. They get the ball back at the end of the game, and Tom Brady takes them into a 2-minute drill, and they go hurry up the whole time. They don't allow any defensive substitutions, and Tom Brady, just because of his understanding of the football game, dissects you enough to move the ball down the field and get whatever you need. And he has the clutch gene. that makes it so like there's 40 seconds left. He's like, I can do this. I mean, even if you look at what he did in overtime, he stunk against the Cardinals. And then he goes 6 for 6 in overtime to just, what do they need? A field goal. And so what we need to do is be up by more than 2 scores at the end of the game. And it would be nice for us to have the last possession of the game. That's what you really could is we need to pull one of those Pittsburgh Steeler third quarters that they did to us. And we just need to do that to Tom Brady. And it's just keep his ass on the sideline. The thing is that the Buccaneers' run defense has been better than their passing defense, at least from when I've watched them. Their linebackers are playing hard, bro. Like their defense has been out there trying, and that offense just hasn't done shit. So I don't think it's not going to be a rollover. This is certainly. How do you feel like we are underdogs? I think we should be underdogs, right?
I think we deserve to be underdogs because we have a worse record, but and we have Sam Darnold that nobody's going to see as a quality, quarterback until he's done something more than just 4 games. Sam Darnold's put far more worse tape out there than he's put good tape out there.
But 3 points I think is fair. You know what I'm saying? It's their home field. They've got Tom Brady. They've got a better record. But we've beat them this year.
Yep.
Tom Brady is not Tom Brady. And the Carolina Panthers don't want to quit. The Bucks don't want to win the division, and we don't want to give up.
Right.
That's how it feels like to me. The Carolina Panthers need to defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, however, if they are going to have a chance to continue this kind of story. I'll ask you one question before this fairy tale in a way. If the Panthers win Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what are your feelings after the game? How does that change? I mean, obviously, if we lose, we don't have any chance of making the playoffs, right? And that's really the end of the season.
Sure.
How much does one win continue this role for us? Do we just come in here next week and say, hey, man, one more game to win, we're still in this? Or are you more excited than you think you should be?
If we win by 3 points and the score is 3-0, I'm not excited.
Okay.
But if we come in here and we do another thing like we did to Tom Brady and go 21-3, 21-3 against them, then I'm all in, dude. I am ready to say that this team can go head to head with any team, especially if Jaycee Horn's back in the squad. Our defensive line has been playing much more improved. That Steelers game was an anomaly. I think that I don't know. I think that some of these bad losses can lead to a lot more learning experiences than just us being a bad team. I think these guys are young and are going to learn from all of that. So yeah, it just depends upon what the result really is. The win is important, but how we win is why I say we need to be more than just just a win, right? We need to have it be convincing. So nobody's sitting there saying the Panthers don't deserve. What I don't want to have happen, and it's already just being discussed, similar to our 2014 season, is we don't deserve to be there because we had a negative record. And I just don't think that's fair when you look at how many teams are 7-7 or 7-8 and 8-7. There's a lot of people in that same category. We're not that far away. And quite honestly, we're a few bad calls and one missed kick away from being a real contender in people's eyes.
Cody, what are you coming in here firing away on if we beat the Bucks on Sunday, the post game? You coming up here going, man, we're winning the Super Bowl? I feel like Cody's gonna be real pumped.
Oh man, I'm definitely gonna be real pumped. Dude, I'm telling you, man. I'm also feeling good about Sam Darnold. I feel like this dude was drafted high for a reason. He was drafted with the 3rd overall pick, and when you don't play behind good offensive lines and don't have a good coach, yeah, you're not necessarily going to be able to play good football. I'm not saying a long term future, but I think, dude, if we're going to be going to the playoffs, I think you start to have to take a meaningful look at having Sam back in some capacity next year. And like, here's what I'm going to do. And this is what I think we as Panther fans should do because we owe ourselves. Let's not in the future. Let's not live in the past. Let's be where our feet are, right here, right now, and let's focus on the game in front of us. Let's not put one thing in front of the other. We have to be ready for this moment, and I think that we're going to be ready against Tampa, and I think we're going to be ready against New Orleans. So yeah, if we get that W, hell yeah, dude, we're turned up, and I think we're all ordering NFC South champion T-shirts probably the next week after that.
Not wrong.
You know what? I'm gonna kind of do a bypass real quick. We'll do sub shame after this. Let's go into our prize picks real quick. Just because, look, a couple of things is PrizePicks. Thanks for the sponsorship for the C3 Panthers podcast. It's a great way to play daily fantasy football sports. You can go in there and you can place entries on any type of player props from basketball to football to MMA to gaming. And they have all kinds of deals. They had a lot of great deals when it came to the Christmas time. And right now, with the Hornets on the board here, the Hornets about to tip off in 11 minutes and 27 seconds. LaMelo Ball is the Taco Tuesday play here, where you get a discount of 5 points here, which is 21% off. And there's no Steph Curry tonight. So I'm going to do a wild basketball. I'm feeling edgy right now. It's going to be all on the Charlotte Hornets game. And it's going to be for a high scoring game right here because the Hornets have zero defense. I'm going to go Klay Thompson more than 23.5, LaMelo Ball more than 18.5, Jordan Poole more than 27.5, Draymond Green more than 7.5, and Terry Rozier more than 20.5. It's going to be 120 to 110 game right here. I'm going to put $10 on this entry right here. I could do two things. I could flex play this and hit. Ooh, wow, I wanted to do the power play. Can I not do a power play? I want to do the power play. Oh, well, a flex play right here. Why did I not do? I swear. Can you not do it with a Taco Tuesday? Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to have white chocolate espresso. My son helped me coach me through this. My illegitimate son, who has been balling out on a heater on PrizePicks, cooled off a little bit. We'll pick around just this real quick. We'll pick in and see if any of the Panthers lines are up. Now, if you go to PrizePicks, what you can do, you can play daily fantasy football sports and with real money in a secure way and make a lot of money. And it's a great time doing it. We've had a ton of fun doing it, but you got to do this. You got to use the promo code C3. If you use the promo code C3 and you go to PrizePicks, guys, they're going to match your first time deposit bonus, right? Or the first time deposit up to $100 with $100. So you put in $100, they'll give you $100 of promo funds. They give $50, they'll give you $50 of promo funds. You use the promo code C3, you can go and play daily fantasy football sports. And it's a great time and make a ton of money like white chocolate espresso, like my boy Kev has. Use the promo code C3. Let's just take a pick real quick at the stats for the fantasy for the Panthers game. We'll clear this up. I'll show you guys how I did. I had some okay ones. And by the way, you want to talk about a guy stinking who I fucking hate is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson finished 3 yards short of 200. He had 214 yards. He needed 4 yards. 217.5. I would have had my Christmas pick. I had a free square. Hit him. I would have turned my $20 into $60, but instead he had to count his bathrooms instead of fucking completing passes. Russell Wilson, you stink, dude. The whole game was stacked. You were being blown out, dude. I was like, man, I'm going to get this number. They're just going to be throwing the ball. And he started making completions and all of this, and then he just stunk it up. But the Carolina Panthers right now, what happened to my players? Where'd they go? Let's see here.
Yeah, by the way, our man Drew says if he's not mistaken, Tony, you can go power play up to 4 players. After that, you have to go flex pay.
Okay. All right. So because I went 5 and went wild. Hey, here we go. Is DJ Moore 58.5 receiving yards? Will he do more or less? Deontay Foreman 63.5 rushing yards, more or less, and Sam Darnold with 190.5 passing yards. Which one is the bait and the trick and the switch? Now, you do get better numbers early in the week. I promise you this Deontay Foreman number is going to creep up by Friday. When you go on to Friday free-for-all, Cody Lashley, remember this.
Yeah.
63.5 because people are going to start playing the more on this, and they're going to try to balance the money out there.
Hit that DJ Moore. Hit that. Hold on. Hit the DJ Moore. Let me see how many times. Dude, listen. Him and Sam, I'm telling you, they have formed a great connection.
And they don't have any secondary either.
Right. I really like that DJ Moore pick right there, man.
Let's see. Tom Brady, 265.5 yards. Mike Evans, 55.5. Chris Godwin, 63.5. I mean, Tom Brady, I bet you he gets sick 265 every week. It's like
close. He's damn near.
Yeah.
If he doesn't,
I mean, they just throw the ball a ton. They throw the ball a ton.
Yeah, they don't have. They have barely any run game. Everybody wants to talk about Lenny, how he had a great game yesterday. His or this past week, it's been absolutely horrendous. Like he had 9 receptions for 90 yards. That was his biggest.
I don't think I'll let you do that. By the way, do an offense on both sides of the same game.
Let's see it.
I think, yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not sure.
Oh, $4.99. Somehow I put $4.99. I wanted to put $5. Yep.
Okay.
So that. Oh, did I do power play or flex?
Power play, I think.
Oof. I'm probably gonna redo this and put in a flex. What do you guys think about these numbers, real quick?
I like DJ Moore.
Do you think they should add Foreman for Moore here too? 63.5, or do you think they're gonna just key in on him?
I would probably feel better with Foreman, and I do think DJ will get it, but they're rushing the football, and the way that Foreman's been playing, it's hard not to pick him, man. It really is. White Chocolate Espresso figured out that a good way to win, pick up on them kickers, baby. Them kickers are money if you can get some good ones. Dang, none of ours are good. But I would say Foreman.
Let's see. Is it only see? It's so early in the week. We don't get as many options here. We'll pick around
on Friday.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson 220. I don't like that. 240. Ooh, Trevor Lawrence 240. Like that number. Daniel Jones 200. Gosh, Russell Wilson. You think he's gonna have a good game at the end of the season with an interim head coach? They fired their coach.
I gotta
stop messing with him. I gotta stop messing with him.
No, you have to stay away from that, man.
Yeah.
Trevor, who's Trevor playing?
The Texans.
Oh yeah, dude, you definitely go with Trevor.
I know. I'm into that.
Yeah.
Oh, what about
Aaron Rodgers plays the Lions.
2:30. Kenny Pickett's back against Baltimore.
I would say Rodgers over Detroit more than.
I like this Kirk Cousins number more here. I go more.
Who they playing?
Green Bay,
Green.
Sunday,
It's
January 1st.
it's Minnesota and Green Bay.
Yeah, I like this.
Mm,
I'm
I
fine
mean,
with
dude,
that.
right now the Packers are playing good football.
All right. Don't forget you can play daily fantasy football sports using PrizePicks if you go to PrizePicks and use the promo code C3. Don't forget to use the promo code C3. They sponsor this podcast and they keep up with how many signups we have. And that continues to help us make an argument for them to sponsor us in the future. And it's just been incredibly fun. It's been so much fun that we even have like side threads where people are sharing their entries, should we say, and we get to watch people with the big cojones, like my illegitimate son, pull in some big money. Was one play away from hitting the $1,000 one just the other day, man. So we're gonna hit one of those big ones one day where we just hit the incredibly big one. Just like one day, Cody Lashley's gonna unfreeze. He is starting to. He's coming back to life. Welcome back. Just like your
What?
camera. You were frozen. You were
I was
frozen.
frozen.
Frozen in time.
Well, I
So
didn't know.
shame on your camera. Shame, Cody Lashley.
Yeah, I mean, look, the shame is not on me. The shame is not on you, Tony. The shame is not on you, CK. The shame is on all these freaks in the chat who come here to get shamed. You already know what to do. Talk to him, Big Papa.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, off the heels of a record-breaking performance, a once-in-a-decade performance by any team in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers have kept hope alive. They have found a way to creep into your hearts, to creep into your minds, to maybe become the team of destiny. And when you come here to hear the panel talk about the Carolina Panthers, to hear everybody show excitement and elation for what we have going forward, but you haven't hit that like button yet. Surprise, surprise. I have one thing to say to all you absolute freaks. Subscriber shame.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
Hey, sometimes I hit the wrong button. 175
Shame
people
on you.
watching. 80 thumbs up. Hit that like. Hit that subscribe. Listen, if nothing else, hit that like because you don't have to hear us moan and complain about the draft. Normally, we're talking about who we're drafting come April. Dude, we don't give a damn about that shit, fool. We're playing meaningful fucking football. The Carolina Panthers are fighting for this fucking division. And if you have any love for this Panthers football, hit that subscribe because we're out here 24/7, 365 days. We do this Panthers content. If you appreciate that, hit the like, hit the subscribe. A few more things to get into, and then we'll jump into those cat calls. Look, if things weren't synchronous enough, our very own Greg Olson is going to be calling this showdown with the return of Josh Norman. Dude, I'm telling you, man, it's like the stars are starting to align for the Carolina Panthers.
I told you, man, I'm ready for us if we make the playoffs, dude, for Greg Olson to be calling the game. Like, that mean there's a good chance that this game is on Fox and this is the crew. So, is Greg Olson coming back home? He's going to be able to talk about Josh Norman being back. Whether or not Josh Norman is playing or not, we'll see this week. But go ahead and tell you this. Go ahead and cue up. This is what we get to hear, thankfully. Instead of hearing stupid Rondé Barber talking whatever he's going to talk. Or who's the other guy, which I actually like this guy, the former Saints player. that
I
does
can't
the.
stand that dude.
Oh,
You
I think
like
he's
him?
pretty good. I think he's pretty good.
No.
What's his
His name?
Hold on, chat, help us out. Who's the
Chat,
Saints
help
guy
us
that
out.
calls game? Now he's not terrible. Rondé Barber is the one that I hate. Is that you just hate him?
He's always dogging on the Panthers.
Always, because he got mashed by Jay Stu, right? Remember that game? Just destroyed, which would be perfect for this game because
Vilma. Jonathan
Jonathan
Vilma.
Vilma. Yeah, I don't think
Thank
Vilma's
you,
that
bro.
bad. I don't hate him like Rondé Barber. But now, here's a little taste of the medicine, folks. Here, payback is a bitch, Buccaneer fans. We're not going to have to hear only about Tom Brady and sucking on the balls of Tom Brady and all of this, whatever it is. We're going to get to hear this. Steve Wilkes has got this team playing hard, guys. And I tell you this, this reminds me a lot of the 2014 season when the Carolina Panthers rallied around and made a wild card playoff. I hear it myself echo, by the way, now. But wild card playoff debut, home game. Steve Wilkes was part of that team. He knows the culture. He was here in 2015. I was part of those playoff runs. This is excitement. It's palpable in the air. You get to hear all of that. You're going to get to hear a Panther perspective on the call, not just Tom Brady, fourth quarter, Tom Brady. Come on, baby. Steve Wilkes. He's got a personal connection to Steve Wilkes in this team. Hell, he might even be talking about, I was so excited. I'm so excited. I might go strap up there and go help him right now. Steve Smith out there tweeting about how he might come help. Trey Boston, all these guys. There's a great tweet running around where somebody did like the Avengers Endgame and they put all the Panther players on it. They're like, yeah, it was fantastic. So, yeah, man, this is awesome. And this is what's great about, I don't know, is somebody put this in the chat room. They said, let's help this podcast get to 5,000 subscribers. We just hit over 4,700 right now, which we've had a big season. We were trying to get to 4,000 at the beginning of the season. And we felt like we were 300 away from 4,000. It felt like
no, I thought we were trying to get to 3,000 before the season.
No, I think it was 4.
Yeah, I think it was 4.
Was it?
But it felt like those final 700, the final 300 was like climbing Mount Everest of subscribers. And we just went on, first we just show up. We continue to talk. So if you like listen about the Carolina Panthers, we are the people that just keep making the videos, whether they're good or not. We still do it.
We never shut up about the Carolina Panthers.
It is the longest running Panthers podcast for a reason. We don't shut up. But one of the things, though, that I've gotten to see as I've built or worked to build whatever this podcast is, this community is, I went back and watched one of my earliest videos from like 2013, and it's so ridiculous. It's like, gosh, I mean, but like we were really searching for what the internet was good. Like live streaming was so new, so this and that. And so you're kind of trying to figure it out. You're learning what you want to be and making it all at the same time. But one of the things I've gotten to do over the last 10 years of doing this podcast is one of the things I'm ready to do is usher in a era of culture for fans. And not that I'm going to create it, but like we are getting second generation fans now. We're getting kids who grew up as Panther fans. Their parents were Panther fans. And that was the thing that we didn't have for a long time. We didn't have a history. We didn't have a lure. You know what I'm saying? As you think about this, is you didn't grow up watching Panther games with your grandpa. But my kids are going to see me watching, they grew up watching Panther games with me. My grandkids are going to watch, we're building this history together. And what's been really neat about people like Greg Olson, Thomas Davis, Steve Smith, I guess Cam Newton you could put in there in some ways, is as they've moved on to the next phase of their career, the connection with the Panthers is now existent.
Yeah.
And we get reminded of it. We have these signposts of our history out there, these mile markers, these plaques out there that we just didn't have. You didn't go, oh, there's Steve Berline on the call. this week. He played for the Panthers.
Yeah.
10 years ago, you didn't have this connection to the larger NFL world that Steve Smith and now Greg Olson are starting to deliver for us.
Yeah, dude, and it's a joy to hear him call a game for a team that you know he loves. I mean, someone put in the
Right.
chat, he's gonna be fighting his rhythm all game, which I love, dude. It's gonna be good to hear maybe a little bit of homerism when we get that from those broadcasters that are calling the game. Hey, so I don't forget, Eric 37 says, "Win or lose, it was fun to have something to play for again." With the
Amen.
$5 love bomb, thank you, Eric. And I think that's the sentiment, man. Dude, this season was the best season that I've been on the podcast. How about that? The fact that we're talking about being a playoff team late in December. Come on, we haven't felt this in a long time. I think the last few years have shown us that you cannot take winning for granted. You just can't. Because when you have 31 other football teams that are allocating resources and time and energy and effort into winning football games, you're not guaranteed to be in this spot. Look at some of those teams that have, like the Browns and the Lions and formerly the Bills, that used to just be in purgatory all the time, man. That could very much be us at any point in time. So the fact that we're playing meaningful football, just enjoy it, man. That's why I said don't think fast about what you believed Sam Darnold to be before the start of the season. Just worry about right now and how the Panthers are playing and enjoy these opportunities while you have them. Because, dude, if we're able to talk about the home game, a literal home playoff game for the Carolina Panthers, that is going to feel like it's straight out of the fucking zone, brother.
Well, we had this same feeling in 2014. We were able, this was the real first full year we did the podcast was in 2014. And Joey and I were able to go on this run and have that level of excitement that, well, it was just nice that the season didn't end. And if we go and win this game against the Bucks, I asked you guys this. I was like, what will you be your excitement? How will you come in here after the show? What does that change? It's kind of an odd question because I'm just trying to think of like, how is this going to re-temper my expectations or reorient them? But I think I'm going to go to this is I'm not going to even think about the playoff game. I'm just going to come in here on the post-game show and say this is we got another Tuesday of us not having to talk about the draft, not having to talk about the season being over. It has been incredible and frankly astonishing that we could have this conversation right now because if you think about what has happened, just to put into context, is the Carolina Panthers started out 1-5. They fired their head coach. They fired their defensive coordinator. They then jettisoned a bunch of other assistants and associates of Matt Rule, the Matt Fool, the OOU guys. They said, you're out of here. And on top of that, they traded their best player away in Christian McCaffrey, arguably their best player. They then traded away a receiver who had been a big part of the kind of weekly offensive game plan, or at least had just been present, even though he was a bum this year. And then to add to that, they've had 4 different starting quarterbacks this year. I mean, not starting, 4 different quarterbacks in game. The Eason guy or whatever his name was played in the last quarter of a game. But they've had 3 different starting quarterbacks. And by the way, they've carouseled these. They didn't just go from one to the next one to the next one. It started one, then it went to PJ, then it went back to Mayfield. Oh, and they released Baker Mayfield, who they traded away in the process. The idea that this team is stronger in week 16 or whatever it is right now, addition by subtraction at the greatest example, and the addition by addition of Steve Wilkes, getting these boys to not quit and play like some damn men.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean,
it.
look, this podcast should not be there's 178 people. We had 200 people watching right now. On the trajectory of week 6, we would have had 5 people. And not that, look, we got a great community. People show up. But we do know that interest, particularly, imagine around the holidays. Like, you would not be thinking about the Carolina. Like, it's incredible that we are actually having fun and not commiserating right now.
We started like 1-5, and we had Baker Mayfield as our quarterback. It legit seems like 10 years ago, So,
well, it's so funny because it has been like an incredibly emotional roller coaster. Like, and I know that's a bit of a cliche to say that, but when you think about where we started out the season with the highest of hopes. Like, many of us were saying we were going to win 10, 11 games, right? When we were looking at the schedule,
that's
we were
just
like
dumb preseason talk, though.
Right. But here's the thing is that's what I'm saying is like we had hope, like many of us did. Now I know we can point to the people out there who are going to say, I knew we were going to suck. Right. Well, let's be real about it. Everybody wants to have optimism about their team. I think there was real optimism. We thought that we fixed every weakness that we had on our team in the draft and in the outside of maybe the quarterback, which was the biggest question mark. But we felt like we fixed, we addressed all of the needs that we had going into this season. And we felt like we did a really good job addressing them. And then we started the year out the way we did, and it was disheartening to the largest extent.
Yeah, by week 3, it felt like it was over.
Yeah,
I felt like after that Giants game, I was like, man, fire Matt Rule today.
Dude.
Well, at least those were close games, right? I think it was after maybe the I don't know, maybe the 49ers game pushed me over the edge. Well,
that's
pushed
what got
David
him fired,
over the edge as well. Yeah. It's just the embarrassing losses that we took, right? That kind of made you feel like, yeah, this isn't going. I mean, even after Steve Wilkes took the helm, we faced the Rams that next week, and that was a bit of a bludgeoning, if you will. I know it doesn't, like, if you look at the scorecard, it doesn't seem like it was that big of a difference or big of a bludgeoning, but it was not a close game at all. And then, all of a sudden things started to turn around. And yes, we've had bad losses along the way. We've had great wins, but I tell you what, I mean, many of us have even in those bad losses come away with something positive to say, and hopeful about the future of this team. I remember when we won against the Bucks, everybody was mad. Like, everybody was mad. Like, oh, I can't believe we just won. We should be tanking. And I said, it's okay to be mad after this one, but with the next win, maybe not be as mad. And then the next win after that, maybe not be as mad.
We did lose 2 in a row after that, but there were so many games that we imagine if Steve Wilkes would have been the coach from the beginning. We beat the Browns, we beat the Giants, we beat the Cardinals.
Falcons. The loss to the Falcons didn't feel like a loss. Like, it felt like we should have won that, right? So I mean, even if you think about it from that perspective, I personally don't believe it, just based on, I know the record says so, but Steve Wilkes hasn't lost 2 games in a row yet, even though that the record will say that he has not lost 2 back-to-back games yet.
I really only think that since Wilkes has taken over, we've lost 2 games, and I know that the record is not 2 games. Right, that's not what I'm saying. But like you're saying,
you can't count the Rams one.
Right, is that
1 week of preparation,
and they didn't even.
And then Atlanta, and we damn near beat Atlanta. Came down to the wire.
I think the Bengals felt like a loss. Like, we got
that was a loss. That was on Wilkes. That was a loss. Yeah,
and the Steelers.
Yeah,
I would say you could argue that. I guess the Ravens.
Well, the Ravens. Yeah, the Ravens.
But no one wanted to play that day.
Hey,
that
how
was
about
a terrible game.
If we had Sam Darnold in that game, we win that game easy.
Yeah,
I believe that. I do. I believe that so hard, and I dare anyone in the chat to disagree with me, man. If we had Sam Darnold in that game instead of Baker Mayfield, I think we win that football game. Hands down, dude.
Speaking of wins, let's finish up with our talk about the Lions game real quick. One thing that was interesting is even though the Panthers like crazily just beat down the Lions, when you look at the final score, 37-23, that number makes it feel like the game was far closer than it was, right, at any moment. Like I said earlier, it was 34-13 with 3 minutes and 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter. This game's out of hand. It's way beyond reach. But an interesting note here is Shane Zylstra caught 3 touchdowns in that loss against us. Zylstra is the brother of Brandon Zylstra, who used to play for the Carolina Panthers, and both currently play for the Detroit Lions right now.
Yep.
How about that? Is both brothers play for the team for the Detroit Lions right now, and they're both I think they're Michigan people.
Yeah.
Like they're from that region. So that was interesting. Not really a talking
Shout out
point.
to Sarah Taylor. She loves her from Brandon.
Yeah, she
Zylstra.
does love Brandon Zylstra. And also Rev Rico. Look at he looks like Rico Suave. One other thing I did want to point out about the game, though, before we go on to the tickets, is just this. Kudos to Brian Burns. He had his 2-sack game, that game that we needed him to have. The one that is stepping. What does that make him at now? 13 and a half, 14 sacks now. So he's gotten over that hump, and it looks like he's having the breakout that we like. Frankie Louvu, cannot say enough about this. He might be arguably, he's among the stars. He's almost in many ways kind of stepped into some of the limelight that has been left by Jeremy Chin. Is like how we were talking about last week is Jeremy Chin like we were having a discussion about really how good he's been. Yeah. But I tell you this is Louvu is making big play after big play after big play. I wrote his name. I watched the game last night again, and I wrote his name down. I wrote this into the first quarter, nasty run defense. I just wrote Louvu is incredible. And I wrote his name 3 times down in my notes. So I think that was awesome there. And the other thing, DJ Moore.
Can I just add to your Frankie Louvu?
Please.
Louvu needs he's at 14 tackles for loss. He needs 7 more tackles for loss to tie Luke Kuechly's record for the most tackles for loss, 20 in a season by a linebacker in Panthers history.
I don't think that he's gonna get it. I'm sorry. Do you think
That's
he's gonna
a lot
get
of
7 tackles for a loss in the next 2 games? Like
I don't know. It's less about him being able to do it in that amount of time.
But being anywhere close to that.
The entire time that Luke Kuechly, in an entire season that Luke got to 20, and the fact that Frankie Louvu is pushing that number, dude, that's insane. Louvu is a baller.
Isn't Chin pushing for breaking Luke's tackles in a season as well?
Ooh, I don't know. And that would be crazy. And as people are saying, he's having a bad year.
It might be somebody else, but I feel like it was Chin that I saw that.
So those are some things that is that Louvu just pops off the page. And the other thing that I was going to put out here is, let me see how many tackles he has this year. They don't have a total 2022.
I think
no,
Brown
it must be for like in a first 3 seasons or something, because he only has 55 tackles this year. He had 107 last year, 117 the year before.
Maybe it's somebody else on the team. I remember there was single season.
I wanted to go back to a couple of things a game. I'm sure some of the callers, we got a couple of calls to play that I know came in right after the game. DJ Moore. Every time, I just like, he's just whelming to me. I use that word a lot, is like, he's really good. He's always a good player on a team. He's always consistent. Never really seen him with a quarterback. He's just never dominated either at this time. At any point in his career, just like been dominant. He's still so young. So I just want to say, every time I start to become like less impressed by DJ Moore, where I'm just like it's just like the newness of DJ Moore kind of has worn off. The allure of the brand new Christmas present is every time it happens, he reminds me how good he is. Like in the most quiet ways too. I know that you guys are going to point to the touchdown catch that or a lot of people will point to that and be like, look, DJ is, and you know what? That shows you this is that DJ is a downfield threat. He can be a deep threat. But boy, his toe tap game is just fucking unreal. He has had so many good catches this year where it's been like, that shouldn't be a catch. That shouldn't be a catch, where he is not only like, this is from Mayfield to all down the list of people where it looks like the ball's out of bounds. And this mug in this game last week, he had his toe where I don't know how he made it. Here's
the thing. Here's what you've got to say, Tony. You can say he's been whelming, but the thing is, he has been whelming because his quarterbacks have been underwhelming.
Right.
Like that is all that is. If you look at for the most part, he's had his blunders, don't get me wrong. But for the most part, when his number has been called, he has answered the call on pretty much every single occasion. Go to that Atlanta game. Go to this past week. Go to the last week when we lost to the Steelers with that incredible catch he got. That was like even more impressive than the catch this week, in my opinion. But even this week, like he had, yes, the toe drag swag. He beat Okuda down the sideline for that giant gain. And then the next play, he goes and he catches the 5-yard touchdown, which should have been tackled for a loss because he was a screen pass. He fights through and he gets the touchdown. By the way, reaching the ball across the goal line, Matt Rule would have flipped his shit. But nonetheless, DJ Moore is not whelming. DJ Moore, I know you're not saying that. I know you're not saying that. But I think a lot of people look at him that way. And when you say that, I think it bolsters those people's mindsets about what DJ Moore is. DJ Moore has if you look at who he's had as quarterback, the fact he's had 1,000-yard receiving yards for the past 3 years,
it's incredible.
And it's potentially still capable of doing it this year. And now it's a long shot. Don't get me wrong, but it is still a potential for him to do that this week. I mean, these next 2 weeks.
The fact that he has been a consistent 1,000-yard receiver year after year, with everyone from Allen to a hurt Cam Newton to Teddy Bridgewater to a PJ Walker to a Baker Mayfield to a Sam Darnold. Like, dude, the names go on and on and on, man. DJ is a premier wide receiver in the NFL. And if we ever get some consistency at that quarterback position, I'm still hoping that it's going to be with Matt Corral. But even if it's with Sam in the short term, dude, I'm so happy for DJ. I think he is an excellent weapon for the Carolina Panthers. And remember a few weeks ago when, we just got done talking about Brian Burns and DJ Moore. Remember there were the rumors about us trading Burns
trading
and DJ Moore
too. Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. The Greeners apparently wanted to trade for DJ Moore, and it would have been such a dumb thing for us to do, just to potentially quarterback even be ready to play next year. Yeah, DJ's the man, dude.
I guess that's what I'm trying to say is just when I start to take him for granted a little bit is that he does something to remind me. What he's reminded me this season is he hasn't put up the best numbers, the biggest numbers of his career. He's only got 56 catches for 761 yards, but he's got the most touchdowns he's had at 6 in a season. What has impressed me, though, is that I think that DJ Moore has shown improvement this year, like as a player, like as an all-around player. I think he's better than he was last year, despite his numbers not being better. I think the toe drag swag is just an example of like how incredible he has been. Here's one other statistic, though, that is interesting here. to show what you guys are saying about, like, imagine him with a good quarterback or somebody that was just better than average. He's had 56 catches this year. He's been targeted 104 times. I am pretty sure he has not dropped 50 passes.
He is not.
So unless he's dropped more than 10, you know what I mean? Like, he probably has like 10 drops on the season, maybe. If even that. There's a website. I'll look it up in just a second. But what that tells me is that 80% of those 50 passes were just completely off the fucking mark.
They were a lot of them were
like,
overthrown.
So bad. Yeah, it's like
into
like,
the out of bounds, dude. Like,
yeah,
that's I think you've got to keep in mind is like if it's thrown over his head just to throw it away, that counts as a target for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just an incredible.
And by the way, DJ Moore only 239 more yards to get to 1,000. That's not impossible.
Oh my
god!
God.
Oh, dude, give me a break. You can do that in one. The receivers have done that in one game before. I'm not saying that it's guaranteed to happen because we're a run-first football team, but 239, that is not impossible, dude. Especially when you look at the way the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive backfield has been lately, and the way the New Orleans backfield has been lately. Dude, I'm telling you, I've seen wilder shit than that before.
If this is right, if this website that I'm looking at, well, just NBC Sports, if this is correct, he's not even on the list of drop passes, right? For people in the top 11, like the ranking. There's like 20 people up here. The last player on this list is Slayton from the Giants with 5 drops. So that means he has less than 5 drops. If he's not on this list, he's not even at 5 drops. Right? Like he has, so that means that at the very worst, he dropped 4 passes of those 48 passes. And those just other 44 were just fucking terrible passes. And I see Terrace Marshall Jr. and Ian Thomas drop a pass every game.
Ian Thomas dropped 2 or 3 this week.
I know, like a big one early on.
Dude, yeah.
And then makes a good play. Ian Thomas is an every other down player. He makes one good play, then makes
I don't even know if he makes a good play. Like, he makes okay plays, but like he's not out there like doing what at least Terrace Marshall caught that crazy awesome pass in between his legs, and then he caught that one that last week down the field for 40 yards or whatever it was. Like there's a lot more like big plays by TMJ than there is of Ian Thomas.
I agree 100. In fact, I think Terrace Marshall has played very well.
Yeah.
There's been a couple he's left on the field that I'm sure he's wanted back at this point. But you're talking a small sample set for him.
Right.
Let's think this is that game. I just wrote on my notes DJ's toes. That's what I wrote. DJ's toes are
incredible, dude.
Like the only people that have more famous toes than him is Dante Jackson, and those are infamous toes.
Can we just give some? I know I'm doing this a lot, but Sam Darnold, bro, like those fucking dime throws that he made this week, like we've got to take some time to acknowledge how much he's improved compared to last year. Like just with, I know he's got an O-line, and that's what we've all been saying. Like, we need to see what he's capable of doing with an O-line like this. And I'm telling you, boys, like what we've seen has been impressive. He hasn't had a bad game yet.
Darnold's play, though, is not bit. The only reason I'm not going to just overly jump on the Darnold train for you yet is that despite this offensive line being better, his best plays still come when he's moving. Like his best is like he hasn't been sitting back there behind a great offensive line dissecting people.
He kind of has this week.
Sam Darnold has been great at escaping pressure. Like his best plays or some of his better plays has been when he's rolled out and the play seemed like it was
Bootlegs.
dead, and he
Yeah.
can just fucking zing it in. He's had a touchdown like that. He had a first down completion like this.
That 58-yarder to DJ Moore
that
was in the pocket. That 40-yarder to TMJ was in the pocket.
Right. I'm not taking, but I'm saying, to me, still the best part of his game, and I think has been maybe not tapped into enough, is using him as a running threat. He made the quarterback, the read option, that Cam Newton is the best. Cam Newton was the best player I've ever seen do it in my life. And that is, Cam Newton knew how to run that read option every time. Like, he made the right decision most of the time to pitch, to keep, and it was just so devastating. Sam Darnold did that like 3 times in this game. And it looked smooth. I was like, whoa. I was like, bro. I was like, yeah, I mean, I know he was running around, but he was doing the pitch. One time he pitched it right at the perfect that led to, I think, to a touchdown, to the Foreman touchdown, maybe. And then the other time is that he kept it and ran for a touchdown. And it was the right read. It was quick. He's starting to feel it.
Sure.
And he's only 25, 20, like.
Right. And he was drafted with the 3rd overall pick for a reason. Everything to be the number one pick. When you're talking about physical capabilities, the guy can do it all. He can do it all, but he just had his early years ruined by bad coaches and bad offensive line. Look, as you might already know. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. And turning the ball over. And I think that's where you have to give him the most credit, is that he's not turning the ball over. And how about this, right? We're talking about Sam Darnold. Should we not give some love to Ben McAdoo in the same vein? Because I'm telling you, every year we do this thing where, our offensive coordinator sucks. They're terrible. Well, okay, no offensive coordinator is ever going to look good if your quarterback is not consistently getting the ball into the hands of your playmakers. So, yeah, of course they're going to look bad. But when you look at the rushing attack, Sam Darnold being accurate, DJ Moore balling, Terrace Marshall Jr. balling, we can't be so hypocritical that whenever things are going bad, Ben McAdoo, and then whenever we're doing good,
it's always easy to do that.
We got to look to upgrade from Ben McAdoo next season. No, man, I think Ben McAdoo has done a great job. He has been through all the same tumultuous coaching change that everyone else on the staff has been through. And he's persevered, and he's gotten the most out of our offense and one of the best offensive lines in Panther history. I'm sorry. You have to put some damn respect on Ben McAdoo's name.
And by the way, Sam Darnold is still very young for a quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I think, is that we haven't seen, and this is the internet has done this, or has contributed this, but also the NFL is naturally, the timeline for success is shortened so much, right? So like, if these guys, I mean, look, we'll talk about Zach Wilson later in this, is that, look, if Zach Wilson went, is might as well be out of the league at this point. I mean, the timeline is so compressed in so many ways that opportunity, you just don't get another opportunity.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold is making a lot out of his opportunity that he probably, I won't say shouldn't have gotten, but usually you don't get that third chance after last year in so many ways. So he's, it's like, we haven't seen, look, Jake Delhomme wasn't even in the NFL until he was like 26 years old. The NFL Europe, you know what I'm saying? So just because these guys haven't done something by 26 doesn't mean that they're not incapable of doing it. So there could be better years ahead for Sam Darnold for sure.
Yeah.
When it comes to Ben McAdoo, I don't want to overly, again, we'll just go back to the internet reaction of things, is that when you go overboard and you say he stinks or whatever, the truth somewhere, or he's greatest, is truth somewhere in the middle. And even in the beginning of the season, one of the few things that Matt Rule said that like made sense was like, every now and then, like, you can't just say we want to run the ball this amount of times, or this is like the flow of the game really determines a lot of things.
Sure.
And when you can't complete a simple pass, how can you judge the offensive coordinator by that, right? And when in some of those early games, even though he was calling pass plays a little bit more than we wanted him to, like if you looked at the routes on the field, they were there a lot of times. It's just the guys didn't fucking make the play. So like they got to go out there and actually do it. And this game though, before we go crazy about Ben McAdoo coming back, is that when you're running 30 yards off at a clip, it makes it easy. For a play call. It's like, hey, let's draw up a run play. Let's draw up a run play. Now let's hit him with a play action. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, let's not make it like that.
Hold on.
But is he not the offensive coordinator for that offense that's rushing the football at that high of a clip?
Hey, let me ask you a question.
No, he's not. He hates to run the ball.
Let me ask you a question. Well, we don't know that. But let me ask you a question. When our offense doesn't perform well, who do we blame?
Ben McAdoo.
Well, and the quarterback usually.
Okay.
It's a combination of both. The quarterback
isn't it
and Ben
fair
McAdoo.
to give him a lion's share of the credit for what this offense has done with this run game over the past few weeks? I know you've got to reward the players for performing, but we've said it before, when this team is doing horribly, we can't make this argument one way and not argue the other way. Right. We can't say like that's on coaching. This is on coaching. This is on coaching. And when our offense is performing well, which it really has as a whole over the past few weeks, barring a few bad games. But outside of that, you've got to look at this offense and say it's been performing well. And that means that Ben McAdoo is doing a good job. Now, does that mean that he is going to be the offensive coordinator next year? I don't know. Does that mean Sam Darnold's performance is going to mean he's the Panther starter next year? I don't know, but I think the both of these guys have earned the right to have another opportunity, if not here, somewhere else.
I will give him this credit, and I think this is where the most credit is honestly due. Is very similar to Steve Wilkes. It's kind of insane that you're able to find prosperity amongst the depths of this depression we were in. And the idea is the fact that Wilkes can have this team playing to the level it is at this point is miraculous. It's miraculous. And to be honest, the fact that Ben McAdoo hasn't crumpled at this moment from all of the transition, from all of the change, not only in the coaching, but the shroud of failure in the offense and this, but from quarterback to quarterback to quarterback to losing Christian McCaffrey to this, the fact that the offense is getting better is fucking miraculous in a way.
Let me ask you this.
But
Do you feel like either of these guys, Ben McAdoo, and this goes for anybody in the chat or either of you two, do you feel like Ben McAdoo or Sam Darnold has earned their shot to be at their current position next year, even if it's not with the Panthers? Do you believe that Ben McAdoo earned the right to be an offensive coordinator somewhere else, if not here?
Yeah, just because there aren't a lot of people that are equipped to do the job, and you need bodies, you need offensive coordinators, you need assistant coordinators. But I also say this, to everybody that's breaks pump. I've been saying this entire season that it's a prove it season. Everyone has to prove it. Well, we're not in the playoffs yet, so therefore they're not done proving it. And that goes to everyone involved. Sam Darnold, Ben McAdoo, even Steve Wilkes, man. We're feeling good now, and we're happy to feel this way. But, man, these final two games are so important for so many different people in our organization, Sam Darnold included, and Ben McAdoo included. I would say if the season ended right now, CK, I would say yes. I would say that they have earned jobs, be it here or somewhere else. But as of right now, dude, we're dialed in. We're focused on Tampa. And right now, based on what they have shown me, I think they have everything capable. They have everything that it takes to be able to win the NFC South. I believe in both of them, man. I believe in, damn it, and I don't care who knows it. Let's go.
I want to hear if you guys believe the number is 252-228-5098. We want to get your thoughts on this Carolina Panthers team. If the Carolina Panthers can and will win against the Bucks, or will win, I guess you could say, they can win. Will they make a run to the playoffs? What is your level of excitement if they do win? Steve Wilkes and Ben McAdoo on the table. We want to hear your thoughts. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's jump into some catcalls.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Guys, Chuck from Elizabeth City, aka Carolina Sports Guy. I'm calling in at halftime. I'm hoping that's not a jinx, but with Christmas Eve and everybody having things to do, I'm hoping I get to watch the podcast later, but if not, I'll catch it sometime between the night and tomorrow. But I just kind of want to look, guys, anytime you get Chuba Hubbard over 100 yards rushing in the first half, Dante Foreman over 100 yards in the first half, 200 and some yards rushing as a team in the first half, Sam Darnold, you throw in over 100 and some yards passing in the first half, almost 400 yards in the 24-7 lead. I mean, I'm just hoping everything continues like it is, but I want to win this game and at least set up next week is, it's Brady and the Bucks, but a win and good chance for in first place with one game to go. But if we lose, typical Tom Brady. But just having that opportunity, that's all we really were looking for, is to be in contention. So guys, have a Merry Christmas. I'm thankful for the podcast. CK, you guys, Cody, Greg, just everybody. I just want to wish all guys a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck. Merry Christmas. And man, the excitement level was so much there that even Cody and CK were sitting there going, we should go for this post game no matter what. We should go. But Merry Christmas to you guys. Happy New Year. One more show, at least one more show before the new year. Let's keep going through with these calls.
Yo, C3, what's good? JD, 864, calling in.
JD!
The score is 31-7. I don't know how many minutes left in the game right now. I'm feeling good. I'm tired as hell. I went to bed like 3 hours before the game started. That's a mistake on my part, so I'm not really all that coherent right now. But let's put some respect on Redbeard, the quarterback, a.k.a. Sam Darnold. Motherfucker getting rewarded. I love the play call, rewarding DJ for hard work, man. Man been out there blocking the shit, gave him some easy tosses. But props to Sam on that zero blitz, hitting DJ. Yeah, man, this is a good game to fucking wake up, watch all for 3 hours or something. I need to take that, man. But hey, appreciate what you guys do. Keep pounding, Panther fan.
Thanks from Paradise, JD.
Pounding. He said he was tired as hell.
Heck yeah.
At least it was worth it, man. Dude, y'all are lucky I didn't do a post. Man, them jokes, they had my ass tore up from the floor up, bro. Shit.
Let's go to the next call.
Yes! Brady doesn't want it. Brady doesn't want it.
This was before the comeback.
Is legit. Deontay Foreman running down people's throats. Chuba Hubbard running down people's throats. Tampa doesn't want it. Sammy D throwing dimes. DJ Moore catching dimes. Terrace Marshall Jr. catching dimes. The defense eating. They don't want it. We're hot at the right time. I don't want to hear anything. Playoffs, here we come. I don't care. Brady doesn't want it. Run down their throat. Sack them. Nobody wants. Even Keith Taylor played well. Everybody played well. That's how you respond to a damn loss. Nobody wants to play this team. Let's go. Keep pounding, baby. Keep pounding.
Yeah.
What a good call, man. Was
Keep
that
Great
Anthony?
call,
pounding.
dude.
Yeah, he's gonna get the applause.
Love it. Hey, you hear that? Dude, hey, let's take a moment and just bask in the excitement of Panther fans. Nobody's crying and complaining. Dude, right now we have a team that the Panthers and the Panther fans can be proud of, man.
Chat
love
loves
it.
the call. Chat loves
Love
the call.
it.
I think that might have was that Anthony? I think that's Anthony from Charlotte. Look, these next 2, 3 calls are all 4 calls, all game day calls. So look, let's get ready. Strap in for the excitement, baby.
Yeah.
What's going on, C3 family? D. Sanford, North Carolina. Shout out to
What up, D?
Cody. Shout out to Tony. Shout out to the whole crew. What an amazing Christmas gift to get before Christmas. We pounded the rock, Foreman, just smashing them in the forehead, foaming. Truba, ain't that whack. Hubbard, Sam controlled the game. Had a little secondary issues. Not mad at all. I was nervous coming into Detroit. They were playing good football. I still believe in playoff football. Steve Wilkes did an excellent job getting these guys geared up and ready to play some daggone football. I am excited. I am happy. I just want to cut a jig, cut a dance. I want to throw a parade. I want to throw a party just for the simple fact, the resiliency that this Carolina Panther team showed after such a disappointing loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is what football's about, and it proves that it's not over until the regular season is over. Hey, I love y'all. I wish y'all a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, dude.
Yeah.
I love the happiness, dude. Like this is what we have been missing for 5 years. Like it's just been.
This podcast is ready for a moment like this, and maybe not even. I'm ready. I just want to know what 2015 would have felt like if we would have had the community that we have now.
Yeah, it
You know what I'm
would be
saying? Like, it's
so
like,
fucking
it's that
lit,
crazy.
dude.
I mean, we were up here talking basically to ourselves in 2015. But man, like, it's just think of this. Listen to this excitement right here. Boom, boom, boom. Man, give us a good season next year, baby. Give us a good season next year or anytime soon with this community. These post-game shows, they're already a blast.
I know. Imagine if we have a
Imagine
good
if they were
team.
just fun the whole time.
Dude, imagine if we could have a 10 plus or 13 plus winning season.
Oh gosh,
dude,
you wouldn't even be able to keep the callers on the ground. Their heads would
Yeah,
just
I know.
be wonderful.
I love it, dude. I
The
love
number
it.
is 252-228-5098. Let's keep rolling with the calls.
Hey, C3, this is a link again. I don't know what to do. One week looks like another week we look like we just completely own everybody. 300 yards rushing. I don't even know when last time that happened. I'm looking for Cat Daddy to figure that out. But holy mackerel. I was only able to listen to the game again because, of course, the game was not available at my area. Sad case of affairs. Defense looked like normal. The last drive by the Lions, though, personal foul, roughing the passer, personal foul, roughing the passer. What are we supposed to do? They need to change that. I think that should be the discussion point going into the offseason hugely is they need to figure out a way. If the guy falls on because he had no opportunity, then they should pull the flag up and say, okay, he had no chance. He had nothing else he could do.
I want to talk about this.
Still, a win's a win, and we're one step closer to the playoff. Keep pounding, guys.
Keep pounding.
Thanks for the call. You're right. You don't want to complain. Look, we won the game. We're not going to complain about the refereeing, but so much or the officiating. But there's got to be some sort of change in the way that the game of football is moderated in the moment. We saw Derwin James get kicked out last night for knocking himself out, I guess. The last thing, I watched the game last night. I took these notes, CK. We were talking about this before the show. And the last note I have in all capital, not a flag by YGM, where YGM gets through, makes a good play. This guy is finally making a good play. A guy that's fighting hard to probably keep his NFL career alive. And he's flagged for roughing the passer.
Right.
And all he did was tackle him. He didn't, and they go, oh, the guy calling the game goes, he throws him to the ground. I was like, no, he tackled him. He tackled him. That's all he did. There were a couple of those calls, CK, at the end on that final drive. Personal fouls.
Hey,
I mean, Tom Brady's going to get them. Is it rigged?
I mean, we saw like 2 in a row. I felt like on that drive, right? We saw them call some bogus roughing the passer calls, and it's an unfortunate reality of the game that we play is that it's just there's such a focus. The thing that I hate most about this game is that they have this focus on protecting players, but what they really mean is we want to protect quarterbacks. That's all that they care about. And I get it. These guys impact the game in a pretty immediate fashion. But when you see players like Mac Jones giving 2 shits about a defensive player's ability to feed their family in the future, that's what pisses me off is that like this double standard that exists that just because you're on defense that you shouldn't be protected the same way. Like this coddling of the quarterback has got to stop, dude. Like I understand protecting the quarterback, but going this far, it's just over the top. It's unnecessary and they need to change it immediately because this is starting to get out of hand.
Yeah, I mean, it just stinks when officiating changes the trajectory of a game. It sucks when things are over officiated. It just, I don't know. There's got to be some way for these guys to pick up flags and it save a little face and it not look like them like a referendum on their credibility.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's more credible if they do that.
Right. It's like, hey, this is quick. We're just trying to get this right. And I think that one of the things we saw from the AFF or whatever the hell, the American football, whatever that one that already ended where they had the Sky Cam and the Sky Judge, is there could be something that you do to not slow down the game, but just makes the game just better.
Right.
And I don't know why, but you know what, at the end of the day is they don't know how to handle the quarterback thing.
No.
That's what I think what it comes down to it is they really don't. They all know that these aren't roughing the passers. But they also know that a NFL without offense is boring or is not as fun. So they also know that keeping these star players protected is more important than really the credibility of tackling in the football game.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to, I don't know. I think they just
I know the mind, like you want your franchise quarterbacks to be healthy and protected. That's best for business, for the NFL, for the teams. You know, you want good quarterback play. That's when the games are the most exciting. But speaking of quarterback play and what makes quarterback play good quarterback play, we have some breaking news here, and it's not good news. I also don't know if it's bad news. Let's run it by all of you. The Bucs will designate Pro Bowl center Ryan Jensen to return from injured reserve on Wednesday. Jensen suffered a knee injury on the second day of training camp, but has held out hope that he could potentially make a late season return. So Pro Bowl center Ryan Jensen is going to be back for the game versus the Panthers. Do you think that his not playing all year, I mean, what does this mean for the matchup? Is this better for Tom Brady, or are you better off going with the guy that you've been taking snaps from all year?
I don't know that this means that he's going to be playing. Don't they have like? Isn't the designated to return? Doesn't that mean like it's just that they have the ability to activate him? It doesn't mean that he's guaranteed to be active.
I don't know. Seems as though, like, I don't know if he's, there's only 2 games left.
Right.
If you want to play while this season still has time, yeah, I'm assuming it would be this week. I'm gonna take it as though they're preparing him to start. But like I said, I don't even know if you've been taking snaps from a different center all
I know
season.
this could be
The
a
guy
bigger
hasn't-
problem for
yeah.
them.
Yeah, the
I
guy
mean, I
has-
think it's
hasn't had
probably
football.
good for them and fine for us.
Yeah.
It's probably good for them that their offensive line has been so stinky that they are, in their mind, getting an upgrade, whether it's this week, next week, like over the term of the season, it will be helpful. But what I'm saying?
I
It's like,
agree.
though, he could be rusty in week 1. It's not like I'm scared.
Sure.
It's like all of a sudden, like, right now, I don't know how much it probably helps them in the next 3 game stretch. And I don't know how much it helps them in the 1 game stretch against us. By the way, PrizePicks here, you got some breaking news for you. That's on the PrizePicks. Something funky with the Taco Tuesday things. Always the allure of the Taco Tuesday. LaMelo Ball has 0 points right now.
Oh,
0
no.
points. I know. What is it? It's just a tease out there. Tease.
That's rough.
I tell you one thing is that the quarterback that will get all the calls is going to be playing us this week, and Tom Brady gets all the calls. And talking about the officiating, this is where we just want it to be cleaner and more honest. Is I don't mind when they're kind of calling the game close or tight, and that's how they want to call the game. But then when you look at Justin Fields over there saying, I got to beg for calls, you hear Cam Newton get told he wasn't old enough to get that call. We just want the roughing the passers to be called, and we want them to pick up the flag when it's clear they're not.
Right.
I don't know. It's hard. It's such a fast pace. I can't imagine being an umpire or official in any sport that's so quick. Like, imagine calling a baseball the guy out at first, and you're like looking at the replay, and there's like this much of a difference. How do you even? So, I mean, I don't want to knock on these guys entirely, but we got screwed on that YGM call. We got screwed. Next call.
What a fucking game. This is G Cavassier. Wasn't that a motherfucking game, y'all? The Russian was fucking crazy, man. Didn't it look like double trouble? Didn't today remind you of Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams back in the day? Them boys ran the ball down Detroit's fucking throat. I thought we was going to damn win. I predicted us to win by at least by a touchdown or by 3. Yo, we played a damn good game. The first run, Cuba ran. I was like, oh, shit. Hey, man. Ain't nothing wrong with it, baby. We won today. Who we got next? We got Tampa and New Orleans. We went on next 2. We clinched the goddamn South. And we in the daggone playoffs. I can see that shit, man. I can really see that shit. And Sam played a damn good game. He really did. Sam played a damn good game. Besides that false start bullshit. He lifted up his leg and nobody came in motion. But y'all give me your thoughts on that. And you guys and your families have a Merry Christmas. This was a good Christmas present. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Shout out to the man, G.
I think there's something, CK's spoken on this a good bit on the podcast, but we got to give kudos to Sam Darnold for taking advantage of this moment. Is that you guys both, you asked this earlier, CK, is do McAdoo and Darnold, should they, have they kind of earned the conversation of being in their roles somewhere, maybe not in Carolina, but somewhere.
Right.
And I tell you one thing is Darnold's doing about as much as you can do
to
overcome his narrative. His narrative is that he turns the ball over, he's inconsistent, right? And what he has not done is those things. And I really think, I mean, I almost feel like that, again, the biggest challenge to Sam Darnold has been himself. I know that you guys could point to New York and the problems with the team and the offensive line. You're right. Those are all challenges all high picks are going to face no matter what. But the seeing ghost comment, right, kind of has lingered like Zach Sanchez butt fumble lingered. Right? And it became kind of a shroud, a cloud over him. And when he kind of faced mental adversity last year, he didn't, it just kind of didn't go well. And that could be a lot to saying that the whole system around him was just a shit show. But it's really overcoming those the mental adversity and the challenge. And it almost feels like Baker coming in here and failing. Then everybody, like, now he's coming in here and playing loose kind of.
Right.
For the first time in his life, he's like, what do I have to lose? He has absolutely nothing to lose. Like before, if he would not have played this season, he wouldn't have, arguably, there's a chance he wouldn't be in the league, or he would be struggling to be a backup on a team.
Right. I agree. He needed this opportunity, and he is taking he's taking every advantage of the opportunity that's been given to him. And I'm, like I said, I'm here for it. I know we've shit talked Sam Darnold. His performance last year was abysmal. He also had one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL, if not the worst offensive line in the NFL.
And everybody's game was abysmal last year.
Right. He didn't have Christian McCaffrey for the majority of the year. It was just all in all, just a bad, and he had Matt Rule. Like, I mean, let's not forget the guy who left here, and we saw an immediate improvement in our team, right? Our team went from being just god awful to like, there's no shot they're going to win, to all of a sudden they're contending every single week when they shouldn't be. Like, you've got to keep in mind, last year he had to deal with learning a new offense, having the offensive coordinator fired midseason, and then having to go through that whole process of learning a new offense again. I mean, it's Sam Darnold hasn't been given a fair shake. And here's what I love about what's happened so far. He's got an offensive line. He's been able to sit back and learn this offense in a backseat mentality type of way, not having to worry about being the guy under center every single play. He's learned the offense in and out, and he's performing and he's executing this offense in a very efficient way. Is he throwing 400 yards a game? No. He's not needing to.
He's throwing more yards than any other quarterback basically did, except for PJ in that one game.
Well, even outside of that, even if you look at the small sample size over four games, he has been efficient and he has been accurate and he hasn't turned the ball over. Yeah, he's been smart with the ball. And I think that that's something that we've got to give him credit for, because when you think about everybody, nobody believed in him. When we were told that Sam Darnold was going to come back and start, nobody thought, man, this guy's going to come out here and blow it up. I think a lot of us had hope that maybe he was going to be better because he had an offensive line, but nobody thought that he was not going to throw an interception in 4 games.
Here's a question for you. Think about this for as we listen to the next call. At what point of success this season do we reach where Sam Darnold being signed before he hits free agency becomes a priority for the Carolina Panthers? Is there, if he wins, is it playoffs? Is it winning, not being part of the problem and winning a game or two still? There might be there's a scenario where the Panthers are sitting here, let's go ahead and ink a 2-year deal before the numbers start going crazy, before anything.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It might not be crazy for Sam Darnold to consider that, given the fact that he doesn't really know what's going to be out there on free agency. So will the Carolina Panthers make Sam Darnold a priority? How wild of a season is it? Let's go to the next call.
What it do, C3? It's Anthony.
What up, Anthony?
Went to the game today. Froze my nuts off. But, man, it was worth it. 570 yards of offense, best offensive game from the Panthers in history. Awesome to see. Darnold threw for 250, rushing game ran for like 320, just absolutely dominant. I mean, I'm really hyped right now. Let's freaking go, baby. Tampa Bay and New Orleans left, two bummy-ass teams. All right, this team is rolling. Nothing negative to say, man. This is an awesome performance. I do feel bad for Jaycee Horn. Breaking your wrist is really tough. He's going to be missed if he cannot get back out there. I mean, if I was the Panthers, I would try to – I don't even know how signing free agents or any of that shit works at the moment, but I would try to sign a cornerback, especially a tall, physical guy, just for depth.
Interesting.
In case JC won't be with us again this year. But I got to say, man, Beard and Darnold, I mean, this is what the Jets drafted him to do. You know, he's got some arm talent. He can make some great throws. He's got some legs. I guess it really was the offensive line. I mean, it holds true for most quarterbacks, you know, but Darnold looks awesome with it. And Dante Foreman, I really want him on the team next year. I mean, he has like 878 yards and 5 rushing touchdowns now, and I'm pretty sure he only started starting games. I think his first start was week 7. So then, like, he's close to averaging, like, he's like 20 yards under 900, which is almost like 100 yards a game. I mean, he's been working it, man. If he was starting from the beginning of the season, he would definitely have a 1,000-yard season. Yeah, man, C3, y'all already know the vibes. Anthony from Charlotte. 2 more to go, man. 2 more to go. We also broke the Matt Fool, Rat Rule, Bitch Mule 5-win season streak. Okay? Steve Wilkes is already better than Matt Rule. And let's freaking go, baby. Let's do it. C3, you're the best.
Let's
Keep
go.
on pounding.
Shout out Anthony. Dude, everything works out for a reason. The fact that Sam Darnold didn't start was technically perfect because we got to empty out the hole and no more Matt Rule. It was a perfect situation to get rid of Matt Rule. However, that being said, I have no doubt in my mind that both DJ and Sam are having much better seasons if Sam had started at the start of the year. And who knows how many games that we got trounced in that the Panthers actually could have been competitive in. I mean, it's really starting to make you think that way. That's how good Sam Darnold has been playing. He needs to keep it up. And, you know, we're going to have to think if he continues to keep it up, what are you willing to pay Sam to stick around for a year or two?
How upset? Like, I know we got so much for it, but do you think CMC in this offense now would have made a difference, or do you think having CMC was a part of the problem that we were using him as a crutch?
Our coaches,
I don't know. I don't know if we can
problem.
really answer that because Ben McAdoo didn't overuse CMC in the beginning. It was every other coordinator that did, and then Matt Rule tried to force him to do it. I don't know. I mean, it almost feels like this team needed to play from this underdog ragtag position. I don't know. I mean, like I don't think we'd be worse with Christian McCaffrey. It'd be interesting to see Steve Wilkes with Christian McCaffrey. Like, is like that kind of attitude.
Well, I just wonder with McAdoo. I mean, because it was after the Rams game that we traded him, right? We lost that pretty handedly, and they traded CMC after that game, and it wasn't until after that game that it felt like McAdoo was given the go ahead to do what he, you know, to open this offense up, right, and run the ball and you know, do what the identity of this offense should have been from the get go. And that is to be a power run game. And honestly, I think that there is, when you're paying a guy like CMC as much money as you were paying him, you're kind of forced to have him be an every down back. When you look at the history of outside of Derrick Henry, the majority of the running backs in the league that are having the best years have a compliment to them. And it's
Who was the
Nick
last
Chubb.
superstar back?
I mean, it's got to be Derrick Henry.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Other than Derrick Henry, who do you go?
Zeke before Pollard. I mean, maybe you put him in that category.
And I don't know if you're muted, Cody. We can't hear you if you are talking.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Who is a superstar back? Is like, all right. So Zeke for that little stretch. Who else? I don't think Saquon is really.
Derrick Henry is the
But he
the
is
guy
such
that
a
everyone's
mutant.
kind of compared to. I mean, yeah, but
Nobody thought everybody thought he
running
was going to
back.
slow down. And who knows?
He has a little bit, but
right. I mean, but he's been in the league for longer than CMC.
right. But I mean, even like if you look at it from like what you want a running back to be, Derrick Henry is by far like the every aspect of it. Like he can catch the ball, sure, but from a pure running back, like this dude's got the power, he's got the speed, he's got the balance. The dude is the all around back, right?
They said Jonathan Taylor. That's only one season.
No, Jonathan Taylor's had one season and he's been injured. Like even with that, I mean, even this year when he wasn't injured, he wasn't like exceptional this year.
Right. Well, their team is not, but like I guess what I'm trying to ask is that you can have someone who had a star season, right? But who is a star player at the running back position to where he is your best player, like head and shoulders above people. And I'm talking about this is like once we go past this iteration of like maybe Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, and whoever.
Christian McCaffrey's not one either. Like when you look at the outside of 2019, outside of that 1 year, it might have been 2018. I can't remember, but I think it was 2019. But outside of that 1 year, like when he has been the featured back, he hasn't been like a star running back. Even if everybody wants to talk about him being in San Fran, right? He had some of his best games when he was a compliment to another guy. Right.
But he's a star player at the running back position. I guess I'm not saying that he has to only run the ball, but he is a running back. He's not a wide receiver.
But what my whole point to the whole start of this conversation was that, when you have a compliment to your star running back, then that's when he's more effective and he's able to produce on a more consistent basis and probably have a longer career. Like you have Zeke now having the Pollard. You have Aaron Jones with AJ Dillon. You have Nick Chubb with Kareem Hunt. Like all of these major guys, the guys who are consistently running, like outside of Derrick Henry, consistently running down the throat of their opponent, they have a compliment. Every single one of them.
Right. Well, and you're also looking at some of them in the back end of their later twilight years. Zeke didn't have to have a compliment early on. But I guess I'm trying to go back
in the face of the planet.
I'm trying to go back to this is that like the names that come to mind right now don't fit the bill of what I mean. So like the best running backs in the league right now don't fit the bill of what Le'Veon Bell, maybe Le'Veon Bell when he was with Pittsburgh is the last one where he had multiple seasons where you thought this guy can destroy you. I'm thinking of people like Adrian Peterson. People mentioned LaDainian Tomlinson, Marshall Faulk going back further, Sean Alexander, like those. But like right now, I don't know if there is a superstar back in the league. Like, and is that a cycle or is that the new iteration where it's just not going to be like that again?
No, I think it's a mixture of their play styles and their personality. So the guys that get the pop, like, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry. Hey, I'll say that
Nick
the most
Chubb
underrated.
is the one. He's probably the best back in the
Chubb,
league.
Dude, Nick Chubb is a baller. Love Nick Chubb. I was a big fan of him coming out of Georgia. And you add Christian McCaffrey to that list because of what they were capable to do. But again, it's not even that these guys aren't superstars, CK. It's that the running back position is the least valuable position on offense. Not that you don't have to have a running back, but that those guys are replaceable. You can find really good rushers that go as undrafted free agents. You don't have to have a superstar.
You can't replace Barry Sanders. You know what I'm saying? I understand that's what I'm trying to say is like the NFL is devaluing the game is just outpacing the running back position. But I don't think any of these backs are anywhere in the stratosphere of LaDainian Tomlinson, Adrian Peterson, Marshall Faulk, Barry Sanders. Right. These guys were playing a different type of football. And the argument that he was our superstar, he's like a whelming superstar, Christian McCaffrey. He's got a lot of asterisks, right? A lot of caveats. If healthy, if used properly, if.
Right.
You didn't have to say anything when Adrian Peterson was, Chris Johnson, when he's rushing for 2,000 yards a season, you don't have to say if about anything. He's just like, give them to lose the ball. We're going to win. Let's go to the next call.
It's JJ.
This better get better.
Calling.
Oh, sorry, man. Thank you for your call, but we gotta keep powering through here.
Hey guys, sorry I called JJ back. But I forgot this was the whole call in the first place. Is it just
JJ?
JJ,
I can't hear you, man.
Yeah, we love your support, but we're gonna have to keep going.
Can't hear you.
C3, what's up, fam? It's Raleigh Panther calling in. Man, I just can't tell you how much it means to be here in the last days of December going into January and looking forward to Sunday watching Panther football with playoff implications and just feel like the team's finally trending up. I felt like under Rule, even if we started out hot, we just kind of fizzled out and then it never really had that Rivera effect where we just went out in November and December strong. But I feel like under Wilkes, that tide is kind of turning.
Right.
I called in earlier this year kind of asking about if a good team can overcome the shortcomings of a bad coach. And, that was when Rule was still at the helm. But as we're getting here to the end of the season, there's just more and more talks with Wilkes being the potential head coach. And I mean, I'm all for it, but just wanted to know if you guys could kind of articulate what you think it is that he does best as a head coach, what he brings to the table, whether it's the schematics or whether it's just a energy that he brings where he just can will his players to play above, their means. And anyways, just wanted to get y'all's thoughts on that. Went ahead and bought potential playoff tickets this morning, spent way more than I should have, but damn, dude, I'm just so damn excited at the chance that we could be hosting the game. So I got to be there, even if my bank account takes a dent. But hey, have a good night, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Playoff tickets
Did you
are
put
on
this in
sale
the?
right now. Yeah, we were just fighting over the slideshow in the background. The tickets, I think the lowest price I saw was $148, and that is if the Panthers make it. So
they'll
I wonder
refund it if it doesn't.
Yeah, they'll probably try to give it if you're I guess if you're buying a single ticket, you're not a PSL. I'm sure they'll try to get that money and apply it to your PC, like your.
The PSLs had the pre-sale, like we're able to buy it first. They had it like pre-sale for like the first 2 or 3 hours.
All right, let's go to his question though. What a great question. What is it about Wilkes? There's I guess I've been petty about this, but I don't follow this person anymore. And then I saw that they didn't follow me because somehow they got put on my Twitter feed today. But it was the one defender of Matt Rule. I think we know who that one person. There's one person that continuously said that he was a good coach and that this was just whatever, overreaction. People talk about things they didn't. He challenged the credibility of Cody, stuff, and the things that we were doing on the show. And this individual, this unnamed individual, put out a tweet that said I was something like a real person, real man admits when they're wrong, and I was wrong. Matt Rule was a problem, and I mean, and this was after the win this past week. What is the difference for someone? What is it like for that person, the one holdout, the person who, in the face of all the things, said that we were just talking about something we didn't know anything about, and that Rule was a good coach. or was it in that we just bad circumstances or something? What is the difference? Same. Actually, you know what is like this? I mean, he doesn't even have the same. Like he's had less. You gave this dude a kitchen, all the ingredients, so that he could. You let him make the order. You let him make the menu, order all the food, make the menu. He brought the food out. It was shitty. Steve Wilkes walked into a cupboard that had less ingredients. Somebody else had made the menu and all of that stuff and left you a dirty kitchen.
And he gave his neighbor his salt.
Yeah. And he made the fucking a better meal. What is the difference?
It's gotta be the message, right? It's gotta be the fact that that in my opinion, again, none of us know because none of us are in that locker room, but the micromanaging that Matt Rule must have had when it came to how he wanted these coaches to call plays has got to be an impact. There's no other explanation to go from being 0 to hero like that and to have this team look like two completely different teams. Like and we can go back to 2013, right? With Ron Rivera. And we could say, well, he did the same thing, but it was him who made well, we also know he had a philosophy change after that, right? He started to be known as Riverboat Ron. He started to trust his offense that they were going to be capable of converting things that maybe he was hesitant to allow them to do prior, right? We saw a method, like we didn't see that with Matt Rule. Matt Rule came in here and he wanted to be the same guy at year 3 that he was year 1. And he thought that was going to work. He came in with a vision and he thought that needed, like, here's the thing that I have an issue with Matt Rule. His vision was the same on day 1 that it was in year 3, right? And that shouldn't be the case. You can come in with an idea, but you need to evolve to what not only what the NFL does, but to what your failures have been up to that point. And I don't feel like Matt Rule did that.
Yeah, and to me, it's the urgency. Urgency is the key word there. There is an urgency on this football team where there wasn't before. Dude, I remember watching clips of the Panthers coming onto the field with Matt Rule, and they looked lethargic. They looked like they just rolled out of bed. But now there is an urgency. It's like that adult figure who comes in when you're a kid and you're messing around and you're not doing the things that you should be, and he says, hey, get off your asses. You have a job to do. Get to work. My ass is on the line. Your ass is on the line. And you're the joke of the NFC South. If that doesn't sit well with you, then it's time to nut up, show everybody what we're made of. And I feel like that message is resonating. They not only do they play better for him on the field, but they feel like Steve Wilkes cares for these guys as a person. Like he cares about these guys off the field. He wants to see them do their best, but he holds everybody accountable. And he said that in one of his meetings, that if I'm coming down on you, I'm not trying to put you down or be hard on you or try and tear you apart as a football player. I want you to be the best version of yourself. And as your coach, I have to push you to be the best version of yourself because that's what I'm paid to do. So it's that urgency and that dedication to the detail and having the energy. Those are all the things that I think has separated Steve Wilkes such a great deal from Matt Rule.
Every semester, when I open up class with my students, I teach history for you guys that are just getting to know me a little bit. And I prefer not to talk about my real career a ton because this is just fun for me. But one of the things that I always talk about to my students is it's important for us to believe in the value of what we're doing. Like, is that if we don't think that the time we're spending and the thing that we're doing is valuable, we're not going to put energy, attention or into it. Right. And so one of the things that I always talk to them about is like the natural inclination for a 19-year-old kid is to not like history. Like I have the same joke all the time. I say, who in here is so excited to come to this class on the first day and loves history? And there's always 1 or 2 kids that raise their hand. I go, brown noser, right? Like, is that we know that when you're a 19-year-old kid, I have some theories about this. I think one is that when you're young, your whole future is ahead of you. So you don't have a history. So you don't really think in the past. You think in the terms of the future and some different things. But the other thing I talked to him about is that one of the things is that we make things too simple sometimes, and it makes it feel dumb. And I usually put it in a little bit better, more sophisticated terms, but I usually like to do this. Isn't it easy to tell 19-year-old kids that Gen Z is a lazy bunch of fuck ups who don't do anything, who just blah, blah, blah. Like every generation always does this.
Yeah.
We always say the generation now is lazy and doesn't do shit and is not smart. And we work so much harder and we were so much better. It's an easy thing to do. But what I always tell my students is first, I was like, man, you guys do a lot of good things. You're like super. But one thing I do know about 19-year-old kids is they smell bullshit. They might not know everything in the world, but they can smell bullshit and fraudulence. And I think this team smelled bullshit. And here is the bullshit that Matt Rule was stinking of or selling. He said it was about team. He said it was about process. He said it was about being one of us. But it was about him the whole time. That's the bullshit that they smelled. They smelled that his words were absent of meaning and that he really thought it was about him. And I think that Wilks speaks in his actions, and they know this is about the moment, the team, and the opportunity. And it's not about Steve Wilks. It's not about one player and his contract. And I think they smell authenticity. That's what I think it is. I think they smelled bullshit before, and they go, wait a second. You're not fucking selling me that, like, and what I tell my students, we're not going to sugarcoat the past. We're just going to say it's complicated.
Yeah.
It's not good, bad, or anything. So that's what I think it is.
In the 2.5 years that Matt Rule had and the short amount of time that Steve Wilks has had, it reminds me of that saying, don't believe a person when they tell you who they are. Believe a person when they show you who they are.
Right.
And I think the actions of Matt Rule never matched up to saying. Whereas Steve Wilks, he probably doesn't even have to say that much. His actions go even further, and I think that's the real difference.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, somehow that message, maybe Matt Rule bought into himself and his own hype too much. Like, is that everybody's like, oh, he turned around Temple, he turned around Baylor. I think maybe he believes, and you need to have, there's a difference between confidence and arrogance, right? There's a difference between confidence and being an egomaniac. But we saw the stupid crap that he was saying at the Pro Bowl thing. The harder you want to get coached, the harder we get coached.
Yeah,
and then when he talked to Florida, and he was like, and you take notes. You take notes. The more you take notes, the more games are going to win. And it's just like, this really has no substance to it. It's like words that usually sound good together, but there's no real meaning behind it.
Well, here's the thing is, like you said, 19-year-olds can smell bullshit, right? Well, if we saw that and thought, that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. Right. We're not the only person that saw that. You don't think that his own
they're in the
meetings,
like, they're in the meetings like, fucking
right.
bullshit.
This is a bit cringe, dude. Like, I don't know how I feel about this. I just don't. I would like to know how that meeting went down with Tepper when he went down to Texas to try to hire Matt Rule or try to do whatever they did. Like, did he go down there to interview him or did he go down there to hire him? Because it felt like it was we're coming down here to hire you.
He went down there to hire him. Remember, it was between the Giants and the Panthers. They made an offer. They made an offer to Matt Rule, and then he went and talked to the Giants to see if they would match it or go higher than that. Dude, that should have been the first red flag. You have a billionaire literally in your living room wanting to give you this crazy deal. But, well, let me see if the Giants are going to give me a better deal first. Dude, that's a red flag. To me, he's always been a snake oil salesman. I didn't believe it at first, but then we all had to come around the hard way, man.
All right, next goal.
Hey, C3 family, Panther fan 2222, calling in from Greensboro. Excited to see that Josh Norman is coming back. Yeah, he's where he belongs back home. I wished he wouldn't have chased the money before, but the past is the past. Maybe he can step in and help out, fill some of the role that we're going to miss with Jaycee Horn on the bench this week. Super excited to play the Bucks. We need to stop looking ahead and focus all energy on the Bucks and the Bucks only. We mess around and make it to the playoffs. We won't have that good of a draft pick, but I'd rather win any day of the week than worry about what draft position we have. Y'all keep doing this great work. Everybody, new listeners, new viewers, like and subscribe and help support the C3 Panthers podcast. Y'all have a good night. Keep pounding.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your support. I don't know if it's entirely fair to say that Josh Norman was chasing the money, though.
No, he was going to sign
Dave
the franchise
Gettleman
tag.
rescinded the franchise tag and then let him hit free agency. Right. So, but you know, it is nice to have nostalgia back. Here, let's go to the next call.
Podcast brothers, how y'all doing? G Cavassier. Hey man, excuse my voice, man. I just got diagnosed with COVID or whatever. So please keep me and my family in your prayers. On a light note, on a better note, hey, Josh Norman is back with the Panthers, and everybody's saying he's washed up and everything, and he's 35. Tom Brady is 45 years old and a cheater, and we got to go against him this Sunday. I see the Panthers winning out in these last two games, and we are in. I really, really have confidence in our damn team, and I swear, if Tepper does not hire Steve Wilkes, I'm going to fucking go insane. Give me your thoughts on that, y'all. Keep pounding.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting to the point where it seems like ridiculous to think otherwise. Let's go to the next call.
Get better, G.
Hey guys, it's the growl that makes him howl, aka Joey the Blind Panther. And yeah, that Lions game was freaking awesome, dude. It was so awesome. And yeah, I wish I had gone because it was like, not only was it the coldest game in the history of the stadium, but we also obliterated a rushing record. And Jonathan Stewart was on the radio, and I'd hate to break it to you. Like, he may have been a cool interview, but he was kind of dry on the radio. But
yeah,
he probably got called in because he probably got called in on the spot because no one else could get there because the whole country was having an Arctic blast pretty much. But so now we've got the Buccaneers ahead of us, and the Buccaneers are the Buccaneers. But we did this with the Steelers. We thought, oh, the Steelers ain't shit. We're going to beat them anyway, like no matter what we do, and we didn't, and it was embarrassing because everybody in the stadium was a Steelers fan. I'm not really looking to do that, but, I mean, the temptation is hard to resist to just, like, look past the Buccaneers, but that's something we really need to not do. And we really need to kick ass and keep pounding. And is this like a win in your in game? Like, if the Saints, well, yeah, actually, I'll set this. Like, if the Saints somehow beat the Eagles, which the Commanders beat them. The Commanders beat them, and that was when they were just starting to get hot. But the Commanders are better than the Saints, when you think. And the Saints are so bad, guys, that Matt Rule and Baker Mayfield beat them. That's how bad the Saints are. So, yeah, I mean,
not a bad point.
This is awesome. I'm still optimistic, win or lose this game. I'm still optimistic for even next year. Because if we lose, unfortunately, we're going to have to look at the future, and I'm still optimistic about it next year because, oh my God, dude, Steve Wilkes is a magician. But I'm going to do what I'm known for so I don't get cut off.
Now he's added a snort.
Beautiful. Love that beautiful growl footage.
Crazy. Well, it's getting like epic level. They're gonna have to get him on the mic. They're gonna have to get him on the.
It's becoming iconic.
Yeah.
I like our chances a lot going forward against Tampa and New Orleans. Sure. Again, we got to play those matchups, but he did make a point. We beat New Orleans with Matt Rule and Baker Mayfield. So we got to finish strong, boys. We ain't won nothing yet, so we got to keep pounding.
Hey, man. Hey, guess what? You'll need to tune into the C3 Panthers post game on Sunday as we figure it all out. I mean, like, that is like the best thing about it is the good news is there's still something to look forward to and to talk about. And I'm telling you, in October, there was no way that we were going to be here. I mean, no. And look, by the way, we've only won 6 games.
but that same
won, like we're on a 13. We're at 13-3 right now.
Hey, Matt Rule never did that. Matt Rule never did that once.
By that same token, Steve Wilkes has got 5 wins in less time, and in all reality, you could say that he's 5 and let's just say he's 6-2 in or 6-3 as a head coach for us.
5-3.
I'm saying 6 because that Atlanta game doesn't count against him.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go to the next call.
Hey, this is White Chalk Espresso, Tony's Baxter. Listen, I'm super excited for this game. Super excited. Because you understand, not just because we can win the NFC South or the playoffs. No. The first person I ever hated in sports, like ever, was Tom Brady. Because the first game I ever saw with the Panthers was the game where Rodney Peete got hurt and Jake Cohen came in. And after that game, I was like, I'm watching every single Panther game. And I watched every single game all the way up to the Super Bowl, which we lost to Tom Brady. And after that loss, I vowed to always hate Tom Brady. And now at the end, we bring back Josh Norman, and we have the chance to keep Tom Brady out of the playoffs in his final year. This is so great. I'm so loving this game coming up because, God, I hope we win this. Just one last final fuck you to Tom Brady. That's all I got. Peace.
Peace. One final big fuck you to Tom Brady. By the way, if we do beat him, it'll be the only time that he's ever not finished the season with a winning record. Dude, that's some shit, huh? That's a crazy. Dude, say what you want. That's a crazy stat. But I love that we could take it away from him.
If he retires too, just think about that. We'll be the team that sent him into retirement with his worst ever season. And the other part too, and I don't care what people say. Like everybody's gonna be like, don't be talking about Super Bowl. Here's the thing. Like if you're a believer in narratives, we're not gonna be facing a washed out quarterback in the playoffs that's gonna be in the Super Bowl that's gonna be given a hand gifted a win because he's about to retire, right? Because we're on the NFC side of things. If we can get Tom Brady out of this, he's the only person we'd have to worry about with that.
Tom Brady is a strange person in my personal history of football. He's a person who went from being very disliked to less disliked to more disliked. And I don't really see how like that usually happens, but like I really was upset with the Tom Brady and the original, because of our clash in the Super Bowl and how they had success and we fizzled out and some things. But then I started to just ultimately acknowledge Tom Brady as a GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like he just did so much and was winning so much. You couldn't help. I didn't say I didn't like him. But you know what I'm saying? I guess I respected him. But like personally, he's become less like less cool in his older years. Like I just feel like I just now see him for having instead of being cold as ice and going out there and winning games, I just see him having temper tantrums. Like him being spoiled. So
that's the thing that I think that is very unappealing about his behavior. It's like
his arc.
His losing has been like, it's felt very much like finger pointing. Like when he throws the bad pass, he's looking at his players and it's almost this sense of like, this is your fault. Like, even
He's
though
like
I
the
just threw a horrible pass.
The disappointed dad who doesn't know what's going on.
It's similar to Aaron Rodgers this year too. Like Aaron Rodgers has been the same way. He'll overthrow his receiver by like 5 yards and he'll sit there and say, like, he'll be like, what the like, I'm like, dude, you overthrew him. Like, you are not playing as good as you have in years past. This is not on anybody else but you. Has there been issues with your receivers dropping passes? Sure. But at the same time, you have been bad as a quarterback. Tom Brady, the same place. I think that these guys have gotten so used to greatness and them, the media and fans and everybody just sucking them off that they're just like, they're all of a sudden being criticized because they're not playing well. Now they're on the opposite end of this thing. They don't know how to react or how to respond. And in the past, when things haven't gone their way, it's because somebody else. 9 times out of 10, it was because of somebody else. Now it's on them. They're the ones that are the problem, and it's something that's really hard for them to swallow that.
All right, next call.
Hey guys, it's the girl that makes them howl, aka Joey the Blind Panther again. And I got something to say about. I was just thinking about, we keep saying all these things about, the quarterbacks are doing so good. Like we say great things about PJ, great things about Sam Darnold, great things about everybody but Baker Mayfield, basically. And I was thinking that, I wonder if it's like Steve Wilkes himself, Ben McAdoo being able to do what he wants to do and like his offense really being able to come to fruition, or a combination of both. Because, dude, it's been amazing. And everybody says, Ben McAdoo's offense is like really good for quarterbacks and blah, blah, blah. Like, and then we haven't been seeing it. And like, he's still been drawing some criticism, which I'm not going to say is unfair because, I'm just not. But I think even the coaches, even the assistant coaches are getting better under Steve Wilkes. It was just something interesting that I thought of when I had, ended up drinking a Voodoo IPA that, like, holy shit, dude. It's the IPA of all IPAs. Anyway, guys.
Never gets old.
It doesn't. The people in the chat love it. Voodoo, come on, bro. We can get you on some better ones. That's like gasoline, bro. The Voodoo, it's good. It's potent. The Voodoo IPA, but like, you really want to just get the toast of the town. Like the best, consistent, beautiful is Pernicious. It's the wicked.
My
weed.
brother.
Pernicious is like in that. Boom. It is just the chef's kiss. We could do a Terrapin beer too. We could put in some there. But when it comes to an IPA, man, I love a Pernicious. That's my gut. Like
I'm not an IPA guy.
Right?
I'm not an IPA guy, but my brother loves Sweetwater. Apparently, they have a really good IPA that everybody loves. But
all right, let's go to next. No, but Voodoo, like you buy those Voodoos, or you trying to get tour. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what they are. They are about efficiency. the Voodoo beers. They all hit hard like a bag of bricks. They hit like that damn Panthers running attack.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Ken, C3 family. Much love to all of you. Just hanging out in the chat, watching the podcast today. I'm loving the energy that we're getting. I believe that Sam Darnold has earned his spot to get a short or a prove-it deal. Ben McAdoo, I still think the offense is a little predictable. I would rather go with someone that hasn't failed as much as he has. But our game plan and our formula for success is good because it can travel. If we can just run the ball, the biggest thing we have to worry about is high-powered offenses putting up a bunch of points on us. And the way that we avoid that is no giveaways, no turnovers, and control the clock. And it doesn't matter what kind of weather there is. You know, if it's cold weather, it's even better for us. I don't know if anybody's been hit multiple times in cold weather playing a contact sport, but it sucks. Yeah. It sucks a lot. And I feel perfectly confident that we can go to Tampa Bay and put foots in them because Tom doesn't throw the ball further than 2 yards in front of the line of scrimmage. So it's kind of like we bunch up, our linebackers do their thing. I expect Luvu and Shaq Thompson to have really huge games, stopping and putting them in second and third and long situations, get 3 and outs. We run the ball. We convert a few times. We flip a few field positions. We can easily win this game in Tampa Bay. Keep pounding. Much love to everyone. Y'all take care.
I just don't want to get ahead of ourselves a little bit too much I know that we're watching the decline of Tom Brady 2 or 3 weeks ago. I felt like I watched him die literally on TV. He does kill in that 2-minute drill. But let's just be honest, this secondary has not been good as it is. And now they're like missing their best piece. So really, this is all going to be, I think this game is most about us. Can we just continue to keep Tom Brady out of football? We'll see what goes from there. All right, next call.
Yes, man. This is a regular all-time die-hard Carolina Panthers fan, man. I don't want to be too redundant and say things what has already been said, man. But I just want to put this out here, man. I want to be the fanatic, man, because I'm the hype of the party, man. Especially you put me around any Carolina fan, especially when the game is on. Listen. I bet my uncle, who's a Jets fan, the beginning of the year, that Sam Darnold was going to be a bum. Listen, I already lost my money, and listen, I'm glad that I lost that bet. When I tell you how Sam Darnold has come into this year, shown his maturity, confidence, and resolve, and understanding the phase that he committed to this team, even if it was for the reason of lack of offensive line, play calling, he buckled up. 4 games. Listen, I've watched Sam from the Jets, USC, and to us last year. Sam has had good runs, don't get me wrong. He has done good jobs in the Jets, winning like 4 or 5 games out of 6 or 7. But he has never played no mistake football like he has right now. And the way he is doing it, given when we played the Steelers, Sam had to depend on his own game to keep us in the game. It was not a game management. It was not him just not to fuck up. Sam was trying to win the game. If only our offensive line would have held up just a little bit better. Because I remember in 2 series, T.J. Watt, Cameron Hayward, they came in that offensive line and they disrupted what Sam was about to brew up. If that offensive line would have played just 10% better, I'm telling you, Sam could have tied the game at least with that 7 because we were down 7, 16-24. This is all I'm saying, man. Once I see Sam have a bad game, like we understand what he's been showing us, and we've seen him at one of his worst on our team. But once I see Sam have a bad game, and I'm talking about in these next runs, and it's manageable. You see what I'm saying? Like, is this worse manageable now? Because I'm feeling like Sam has matured his game. He has grown confidence. He just understands it better. He's slowing down. He's putting it together.
Oh, is that the end of it?
Yeah, it got cut off.
Oh, that was a
Bradley,
great
about
call,
time.
man. No, that was a great call. I mean, everything that Sam has been doing has been a marked improvement over what he was doing last year, taking care of the football. We all remember how much we didn't trust Sam going into this season because of how much he turned over the football. I used to say that Sam Darnold was throwing the football to your guardian angel, like he was throwing it way too high. But now he's taking care of the football. He's and I even said before the Detroit game that there are going to be moments when I think we're going to need to throw the football with Sam. Like we're going to need to push the
You're
ball
gonna have to.
downfield.
You're gonna have to. You're
Yeah,
not
and we're
gonna be
going to
able to
have to.
have a
We're going
game
to have
like
to.
that last week
Yeah,
every week.
we have to depend on Sam's arm, and I think that so far he's given us enough reason to trust him doing so.
I think the most important part about it, though, is that we didn't ask for that trust too early. We put some deposits in the bank first before we cash in the Sam Darnold check. And what I mean by that is that we didn't come in here on his first game and ask him to throw 300 yards. We didn't ask him to be, and as he is getting some of the rust out and getting some confidence, maybe the times will cross at the right moment where when we do need him to do that, we've built him up in a way to where he's capable of doing that. Instead of just going in there like PJ Walker being like, good luck, bud. I hope you can save your career. You know what I mean? Is that sometimes you have to put people there. I think Nick Saban says this a lot, is about being a coach is about putting people in positions to succeed. Is giving them the tools, the resources, the opportunity to go succeed and not putting them in untenable situations. Isn't that so much the problem with some of these first round draft picks, is that they're put into such an untenable situation? You break the toy. You give somebody that barely knows how to drive a Ferrari and you ask them not to ruin, you're like, oh, well, we didn't crash. You're right. But you ruined the fucking transmission.
Yeah. That's how these quarterbacks bust. They go to teams that are not prepared to build around them the right way with offensive line and the proper amount of weapons, and it doesn't go well.
All right, let's get to these.
That happens.
Let's do these last 4 calls. Good Lord. We had a no post-game show.
What's going on, CP3? This is Cubic Cash, man. I called one time earlier, but I love the show, man. Long time listeners. You guys do an awesome job.
Thank you very much.
I just had a couple of thoughts, man. A lot of people been, a lot of other podcasts has been critical of Steve Wilkes, but I personally think he's done everything he needs to do to win the job. He changed, he returned the culture. He basically took a dying team and transformed them, gave them life, gave them hope. Even with the shuffling of the quarterback situation, he did a wonderful job with that. Trying to give everybody an equal chance to prove themselves, and the better person won. So I think he did what he needed to do. People talk about that Pittsburgh game, but I just honestly think Pittsburgh just was better coached, and they was more physical. And Carolina just came out lackluster. But I think they learned their lesson. So, and I think that if Sam Darnold is the man going forward into next year, I think that'll be cool for him to be a bridge, and we pick up somebody like Richardson and have him learn up under Sam's tutelage. But I think this game coming up is going to be the test for Sam with that team, and I think if he can carry us in the playoffs, he definitely needs to be the quarterback going forward next year. And I think that Steve Wilkes and him would be a good fit going forward for the team morale. I just want to know y'all thoughts, man, and keep up the good work, guys. Keep pounding.
Thank you so much for your support, man. We appreciate your time, man, and thank you for calling in. A lot of good points there. I said earlier in the show, is it bizarre? What a crazy world we live in, where we're having a realistic conversation about should we think about keeping Sam in the building before he hits free agency. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have that period where a team gets before free agency opens, where they get to deal with their in-house free agents, their in-house restricted free agents. And is Sam Darnold part of that process? Really, what I want to ask you guys, and we'll have a lot more time to talk about this as the weeks go on, if he does continue to succeed, how do you pitch it to Sam Darnold? Right? Is like because you're kind of having to put him. You're going to say this is we're going to be looking for a quarterback in the draft.
Right.
You know, it might not be in the first, it could be in the second. Like, how do you pitch the Carolina opportunity to Sam Darnold moving forward as a bridge, as a 2-year, 1 year, whatever you think it is? What's the pitch?
The pitch is you have an opportunity to come in here and earn the right to be a starting quarterback or a franchise guy again. You proved over a shorter period of time that you could carry a team and you could manage or be a game manager. Now we need to see you take the next step. And we're willing to go, take another year and see how you perform. But the thing that I don't think is fair to Sam is we're going to draft a guy in the first round. We're probably going to have to trade up to get him and go after
like what the Jets did.
Right. And then so what we're going to do is we're going to trade up, get somebody in the draft, and they're going to be behind you, ready to take
looking over the shoulder the whole time.
Right. And we want you to teach him. And they're 4 years difference. Like, it's not like these guys are 10 years or 15 years different. There's 4 years between the two of these guys.
And he's really not even had a ton of success. So can we call him a teacher yet?
Right. And so I don't know that that's even fair to Sam to say that. Now, is it fair to Sam to say, we're going to let you start next year and Matt Corral is going to be your backup and Matt Corral continues to learn? I think that's a fair thing to do, because you're not sitting there expending resources on a quarterback that may not even work out. My hesitation with we have two guys on the roster. We have Sam Darnold, who shows a lot of promise this year, and we have a lot of potential in Matt Corral, right? The idea of going and trying to draft another guy who's got many of the same traits, who's maybe got many of the same successes as both of these guys had in college, and expect them to come in here and do anything different than what these guys are able to do, I think it's a really weird decision to make.
So we're not taking a quarterback now.
I don't.
Well, I mean,
think so. I mean, I just
Cody Lassie is over here just fucking eating shit, grinning, bro. Like, it's like I told you.
I mean, look, I think Matt Corral is that dude. And the thing that I've been fighting with people on Twitter about is, why are you going to reach for a quarterback just because we have bought this narrative that we cannot leave this draft without a quarterback? Why? Why does everyone think that? If Sam Darnold does end up playing well throughout the end of the season, and you have Matt Corral next year, I don't think that the quarterback is as big of a need as you might think. Unless you're not able to retain Sam, then yeah, you probably have to draft one to at least compete with Matt Corral. But listen, I don't know how it happens. I just know I'm a Matt Corral believer.
Yeah.
It's that we're running right now. Matt Corral would be electric. He is a threat with his legs. He has a big time arm. And I want to see Matt Corral get a shot. And if we have an opportunity to draft a really good defensive player in the first round and continue to build up that way, I say do it, man, and continue to build this team around Matt Corral for the future. If Sam wants to be a part of it, here's the deal that I would do, and y'all tell me if this is too low. 2 years, $10 million, $5 million per year. That way you're giving him some money. It's not super expensive, but you're giving him some money, and it's a 2-year deal, so he does have some, a bit of leeway to be able to kind of get his bearings here in Charlotte and make it incentive laden. So, hey, if you make it to the playoffs, hey, here's another, $250,000 or whatever it is, I think, but yeah, I want to see what we have in Matt Corral. I think he's ultra talented, and I want to see him.
The argument that and Chunk is also going and stating this in the chat for those in the audio. He's saying that neither Sam or Matt Corral are franchise guys, and you're right. Not a single quarterback was a franchise. No, hold on. Not a single quarterback on the face of the planet was a franchise guy until they were. Yeah. Right. So you can say we can all agree that neither of these guys are franchise quarterbacks yet. But the idea of just writing them off just because that that you think that the quarterback class that we see here is better is a tough pill to swallow, especially given that right now, if you really want this team to succeed, we're drafting beyond the 19th pick. So odds are we're going to have to either go with the guy that we don't really believe in or trade up and give away assets for the future for a guy who 9 times out of 10, based on history, will not work out. Anyway,
or you get a guy that's at the right price. And what I mean by that is you draft the Richardson kid at the second round, like Hurts, rather than being a top 10 pick. Somehow you just get the player in the second round instead of the first. That's the only other way. Let's go to the next call. JD, I'm only going to play one of these, man. There's 3-minute call. I can't play 2 of them back to back.
Yo, what's good, C3? Hey, I'm just calling in to give my 2 cents about the CMC topic that was broached about how would the offense look with CMC and Foreman. I said prior to the season that the Panthers should make a actual effort to limit the number of touches CMC got per game. Like, he should have been getting around 20 touches. You break that down however you want, whether that's 10 targets in the passing game, 10 rushing attempts. I felt that it would have been more beneficial to the offense if CMC, like I say, getting around 20 touches. If you give him around 15 rushing attempts and you give someone else, Foreman, another 10, 15 rushing attempts, especially considering how the team is running the ball right now, as good as it looks with Foreman and Chuba, it would look that much better because I'll say, like, take this past Sunday as an example. Just the difference between Foreman and Chuba out in the open space. Now, imagine CMC in open space. Foreman, when he broke loose, he was looking to make a move, like put a move on the defender that's out there to try to tackle him. Chuba was just more straight line. And that's, in my opinion, the one of the things that separates CMC from a lot of other running backs is his shiftiness. Like, he has power, he has great hands. We all know that. But CMC in open space is a nightmare for defenders. So you swap out Chuba on those first 2 carries, and you're probably getting more yards out of that simply because CMC in open space, he's gonna make him. It's hard to bring him down one-on-one. Like I say, he's a nightmare in open field. But I feel like outside of Norv Turner, there was no offensive coordinator that properly knew how to use him. Like, at this point in CMC's career, even if you go and you watch the 49ers game, CMC is not the featured back in the game. He's not the featured player. Like, they will use him as a decoy. They will use misdirection, and he'll be out there blocking for someone else that's getting the ball. That's how the Panthers should have started to use CMC. Like, we're going to send him in motion, and I know opposing teams are going to be worried about him getting the ball, but you don't realize that Foreman can tote the rock, and that's further that's further indictment upon Rule, because Foreman is likely to go over 1,000 yards after taking over with 11 games remaining in the season. You had a talented guy like Foreman who, up to taking over as the starter, had only gotten like 7 touches. Like, the difference between the offense is really with Wilkes and Rule. Wilkes has an identity. Wilkes has that aura about him, like, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is going to put the guys in the best situation to succeed.
Yeah, well, we'll debate that some more. I feel like we've been debating that silly conversation between these two guys for too long. Let's go to the next call.
Yo, C3, first time caller from Utah.
Oh, what's up?
Couple things. Something to flag here. We win in the Super Bowl. All right, said it. Wilkes, they got to break the rules, take the tag. If we win Sunday, take that damn tag off. Make him the head coach. Sheesh, we winning it all, boys. We got Josh Norman. He just going to come back and just be hype squad. That's all they signed him for. And to come catch 4 interceptions in 2 games and the playoffs. All right, let's go. And don't even let me forget about this. We own Tom Brady. I don't care what anyone says. Cam Newton was undefeated against Tom Brady. And that wasn't just Cam Newton. That was the system. And we've got our system. We got our DNA back. We got that punch in the mouth style back. Damn, we beaten up Tampa. We're not even going to need to do our starters week 18 because we know Tampa's going to lose again because we're going to make them implode. We're going to beat their ass so bad. Boys, I am excited. Last thing, I don't even care about the draft, but we got to get Keithy or Kincaid from the U of U over to Carolina. We got to have Steve Smith work his little magic, but those 2 boys are beasts, and that's the only thing I think we really need. Love you guys. Call back later.
Man, thank you so much for being
Awesome.
part of the
Appreciate
show.
you, bro. Great call, too.
Yeah.
Energy.
He's calling it Super Bowl. I love it. And you know, he's right, man. Fuck it. Let's own Tom Brady one more time. Man.
Let's do something that hasn't been done before and force this guy into a losing season. Let's break some records, boys.
No kidding. Last call of the night. And then NFL news and ice.
It's me, C-Dog. I'm just very excited, man, for the football season. We're going to the playoffs. We're going to whoop the Tampa Bay and Saints next 2 weeks. Steve Wilkes is probably going to be our head coach. All we got to do is bring back Matt Corral healthy next year. And just bring back Sam Darnold, but not give him a whole bunch of money. I will bring him back as a backup. But besides that, man, whenever you come in here, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. The boys always putting out great content every Tuesday, Friday. Then we got the game simulation on Saturday. But shout out to G Baby the GOAT and everything. But I know this is very exciting, man. We brought Josh Norman back. You know, just because you know, like you said, we're in the dance. You know, it's just exciting that we have meaningful football again in Charlotte, which we haven't had since 2015. You know. But I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Everybody go ahead and get ready for this game Sunday. I'm so excited to see what we're going to do. I hope we retire Tom Brady ass this Sunday. Hope Brian Burns get 2 sacks. Hope Josh Norman gets an interception.
That'd be awesome.
I hope we keep this pounding this fucking rock down the fucking throats of the defense that we play. I need if the offensive line come out and play like it played last week. We just played bully ball and was just moving motherfuckers around all fucking game. We have a shot to go a long way in the playoffs. But anyways, man, try to make that short and sweet. Whenever you come in here, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Okay.
and keep pounding. Everybody have a great night. See Dog 1983 out.
There have been 11 points scored in the last 6 minutes of this basketball game. How does that even fucking happen? Like, what are they doing? What are they doing in this last 5 minutes of this game? Like, that's a fucking monster amount of time. It's 105 to 101, and I need just like 1 or 2 points from a couple of guys to help me on these prize picks. And these mugs are out there just taking naps. All right. Those are the cat calls. We appreciate it. Hey, if you guys notice some of the people in the chat, they have these cool green tags and they have the ability to put out special emojis. You can help support the C3 Panthers podcast by subscribing, liking, as my daughter says, let the likes rain down. Let the likes rain. Right? Hit us up. Help us crush that YouTube algorithm, as Cody always says. Boop it, as this one guy says. That thumbs up, and help us continue our quest for 5,000 and subscribers on YouTube. But remember, you can be a C3 super fan for $1.99 a month. You can help support the podcast that helps us grow and build the show technologically and our reach and some different things. Maybe you even get like a cool blue Twitter tag one day or something like that if we get enough. I would love to hit 100 C3 super fans. We're kind of rocking around that 75, 77, goes up and down around that number. So consider that as a way to support the show. But the best way to do it is to call in, be a part of the community. And that's not only on Tuesday, but on Friday, on Sundays after the post game, and all throughout the off season as we do draft coverage and whatever breaking news, free agency, the training camp. We got a lot of cool content coming in. Let's do, because I want this to continue to be the longest running Panthers podcast, just a couple of news and notes. If you guys have any comments, the Broncos have fired head coach or former head coach Nathaniel Hackett after a disastrous start to the Broncos season, bringing in Russell Wilson, trading the farm for him, and it just has been terrible. Nathaniel Hackett has had one of the shortest tenured careers in the NFL at only 15 games. And now there's storylines out there like, can Russell Wilson be fixed? You guys, the Broncos, bro, they put a lot of money up for these guys. The best thing I saw about this Hackett is that they were trying to lure Aaron Rodgers, and then they had to pivot when they couldn't get him because this was his quarterback coach. Yeah. And this has just been a mess, man. The Broncos are so bad. They're just fucking putrid, man. I don't even know how you can be as bad as they are.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know what else to say about it because Russell Wilson is so dog shit, bro. Dude, he's so bad. I just, I don't know if it was on Hackett or if it was on Russell Wilson. I'm more apt to say Russell Wilson. I mean, if you're not hitting the open receivers that are there, you're the one leaving points on the field, kind of like what we said with Ben McAdoo. I don't know, man. They have the new richest owners in the NFL with the Walton family, so they're probably going to be in contention for this super squad that Sean Payton is building. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but apparently Sean Payton is, trying to get together Vic Fangio and a bunch of really good coaches to like NFL owners. The Broncos might be in the.
He's doing his McCarthy thing right now.
I feel like it's a stupid idea to go with super coaches. I feel like you're getting way too many alphas in there, and they're not gonna. It's just gonna be a shit show. I think that's the same thing with trying to go all-star with your team. It rarely works when you get a bunch of A-listers on your team as a squad. But yeah, that's I don't know. I'm not buying into the Sean Payton hype.
Speaking of the Broncos stinking, one of the things that they stunt, man, is Baker Mayfield and the Rams just fucking curb stomp these guys. Put up what, 50-something points against them?
51, but I think again that's a bigger indictment on the Broncos than it is on a benefit to the Rams and Baker Mayfield. Like I do not like. I watched that game, and yeah, he was efficient, but there was a few times he threw the ball more than 10 yards down the field, but he was throwing the ball like screen passes and short passes in the middle. he was doing it efficiently, which I'll give him credit for. But like I watched the highlights and I just didn't see anything that was exceptional. He did better than he ever did in the Panthers uniform. I'll give him that.
Yeah, agreed. And you know what? I don't wish ill will on anybody.
Yeah, Baker has caused 2 coaches to get fired, by the way.
Yeah, no kidding. Maybe more, to be honest. JJ Watt, excuse me, retiring or announced he'll be retiring after this season. Talk about a mess of a situation with the Arizona Cardinals that he's out there. Very impressive career for JJ Watt, 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year. That's incredible. 5-time All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler. Member of the 2010s All-Decade Team and Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. JJ Watt, man, how many years? 12, I think they said. So, congratulations to him. Sucks that the Cardinals stink so bad and they're probably going to be firing their coach and everything.
Dude, he looked like he was 23 years old watching him against.
Balling out.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy, man. He looks like he was playing damn good football. I guess that's what you want to do, though. Take one step, get out a little bit too early than a little bit too late. Shout out to JJ, man. Hall of Famer.
Yeah, no doubt. First ballot. And
piece of shit, Mac Jones.
Yeah, what a piece of trash.
Yeah. You guys saw the play?
Yes.
Interception there, or whatever. Was it the interception? Was it the?
I think it was a fumble because he didn't have any interceptions this game.
Okay, and so the guy is clearly running into the end zone, and about 10 yards behind the play, Mac Jones just goes at. I don't know what it was. What do you call it?
Apple's knees, like he tries to do like basically it's sort of like a blindside block, but on his kneecaps instead of his head. Like it was absolutely unnecessary. And right now there are 4 clips that show that he has every opportunity he's ever had to be a dirty fucking player. He has taken it every single time. Like it's not even one time. This is 4 times in less than 2 years of full seasons. Like mind you, he's missed some time this year, right? He missed some time last year. Like the dude in a very short career has 4 clips already in place that show he is a fucking dirty ass player. Mac Jones needs to be removed from the Patriots. And the fact is, he's not even a good player. He's actually a below average quarterback when you look at what he's done there in the Patriots uniform. He's absolutely garbage as a quarterback. He's absolutely garbage as a human being. I think I wish ill will on him. As Tony says, he wishes ill will on nobody. I wish ill will, like the amount of happiness that I got from seeing his head pushed into the ground by Chandler Jones last week or 2 weeks ago against the Vegas Raiders, like is immeasurable. Like I absolutely loved it. And now we have and I'm not a big fan of Eli Apple. Don't get me wrong, but this was an absolute just a cherry on the top. And he's just got building up enemies. Bears, Panthers, and you have the Bengals now. And there's plenty of highlights that show the defensive players that go after him have no problem just laying him out.
They've had enough of it. He's the Grayson Allen. You guys remember that basketball player for Duke that would just cry and trip people and stuff, like, and who's strangely having a decent NBA career. Last bit is just boy, what a mess. What a mess the Cardinals have turned into. Not
Cliff
only
has got to be out.
It's crazy. They extended every single person and arguably could cut every single person that they extended. Like, look, Kyler Murray hurt. Who knows when he'll be back? Things weren't looking better for him. He wasn't handling things great. They extended Cliff Kingsbury. I just thought this story was interesting. Marquise Brown played a season low 66% of the snaps this week because he showed up to a team meeting late. And not that I really care about what discipline is or even care about how many snaps this guy plays, to be honest. I just thought it was interesting. I just felt like this shows you that the shit's just burning.
Can I just think? Can you talk about how hysterical it is that Robbie Anderson got traded to the Cardinals, thinking he was getting a better situation, and it turned out to be a bigger fucking dumpster fire than the Panthers were at the time? Like, this is absolutely just god awful. Like, it sucks that what happened to Kyler, but if I'm on that team, I'm asking to be traded the moment this year is over. I do not want to be underneath. I don't want to be a part of another rebuild there. I thought we were bad here midway through the season. Like, that's a horrible situation over there.
Yeah, I agree. All right, that's the news, and that's the C3 Panthers podcast. We got one last segment to do, the Ice Up picks, but my name's Tony Dunn. This is the C3 Panthers podcast, and we're the longest running Panthers podcast with 3 hours and 30 minutes right now, rocking and rolling in our 10th season, completing our 10th season this year. These guys, we go every week, and we got a post-game show coming up. We'll bring you as much content as we can during this holiday season going forward. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. Cody Lack, take us into these Ice Up picks. Put him on the spot.
As always. Hold up.
Well, I would have done it. Oh, man. My PrizePicks did win. I won $4 on a $10 bet.
It's not working, dude.
What do you mean it's not
See
working?
if it'll work on your end. I just clicked it and it's not working.
You clicked it.
I might need to come out and come back in.
Are they in order?
It's
there it is.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
The Ice Up segment is our homage to Steve Smith, the longest running Panther, the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. This is our opportunity to tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. Everybody is fair game. And a lot of times there's a lot of work to be done in the Ice Up segments. Do you guys have any that are burning on your heart right now?
I'll do a quick one. Number one, the country that just went through a ridiculous ice age. Everybody needs to ice up, literally. Now, I might seen my circumstances this past weekend up. I was without power from Friday until last night late. Luckily, I have it tonight. But yeah, so that was a tough situation. You know, basically living with in-laws and aunts and uncles until we finally found that the power was turned back on. But I tell you what, a lot of people got ice up by their pipes bursting, freezing and bursting. My neighbor, one of them, and it was like, it's one of those things where it was upstairs. We live in a 2-story house with a basement as well. So the upstairs, in one of the bathrooms, the pipe burst. And so, which is bad. What's worse about that is because the power was out, nobody was home. We're all staying in other places, hotels, all that stuff. So they didn't come home until yesterday. And they walked in and they see the water in the ceiling, and they see the water down the walls. And the water had made it all the way down to the basement. And so it's such a sucky situation. And so I'm going to do the opposite of ice up, and I'm going to say warm up everybody who had to deal with some crazy shit like that this past week.
It has been cold. Ice up, warm up, toughen up. Cody Lack, I'm going to go with this one and I'll probably think of one. Oh, actually I got one is anytime someone says I don't mean to be racist.
They're about to say something super
They
racist.
are racist. I was at this bar. This girl goes, she doesn't like the crowd that there's like the bar is kind of changing the patronage. She's like, I don't want to be I was like, bro, this is racist. Like what you're saying is exactly racist. But
yeah,
this is my ice up pick. Is this right here? It goes, I guess, to LeBron and the Lakers,
sound off.
I got it off. Or yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And this is not the broadcast, so we'll see. So hopefully we'll get a stick. But watch LeBron here. He's going to take this 3. Clank. Goes after his rebound. Look at him. Falls, flips. Look, runs back. Look at this. Runs back. Running back. Trying to get into play.
Oh, no.
This poor guy just.
Dude, he's out there trying, though. He's out there. He's out there trying to make something happen, bro.
I saw a clip, and it was funny. It was just LeBron just breaking every rule, like basically traveling every time he gets the ball. Like I thought it was hysterical, but yeah.
All right, Cody Lack, what you got?
No, I don't have a great one like I normally, try and bring a funny video. I'm gonna go very, very simple. I'm gonna ice up everybody that doubted us, be them Panther fans or not. Everybody that thought, oh, we're not gonna win another game. Oh, we have to trade Brian Burns and DJ Moore. Oh, everybody has never that dumb shit. The Panthers are still fighting. Real Panther fans never stop fighting for their squad. Man, look, ice up to everybody who quit on this team before they quit on us. And that's honoring of you.
All right.
So to all those people, and you know who you are, ice up.
Hey, can I do one more? Just real quick. It's super quick. Can you pull that LaVisca clip that I sent in the Discord or in the DM?
Yeah. Let's see.
It's not the one that everybody's thinking about. That crazy awesome play that he had with being on angry runs, which I don't know if we really got a chance to touch base on that.
Was it in the Twitter chat?
Yeah, the Twitter DMs. It's a tweet from John Ellis.
I don't see it actually. Did you send it as a text message?
Oh, in Twitter DMs or group chat. Hold on, I'll pull it back up here.
I just looked; it's not there.
Me too.
Yeah, it's John Ellis. It says
Did you put it in the Panthers creator one?
Look, LMAO. Look at Visca.
Here, well, I'll just pull up.
Do you see? It's 2 tweets above. It's 2 above. Greg saying, "Guys, I may not make it tonight."
Okay, let's see. Do you see it?
Oh yeah. I see it now.
All right. Oh, okay. It doesn't have a. All right, I see. You got it, Cody, or you want me to do it?
Yeah, I got it.
Did you see this, Tony?
Yes.
Dude, this is so funny. All right, we gotta get this up, and then watch this come back. Watch LaVisca. He's gonna come from the right side over here to block this boy, and he just about levels him, and he just stands there and stares him down. Watch him. Number 15 on the right. He's running across the line, just pounds him. He just stands there. He just stands there, and he just stares him down.
Yeah.
It's absolutely hysterical.
All right, pull that before we get demonetized.
Ice up.
Oh my god. Is all 22? Do we figure out if that's demonetized or not? Like, is that a monetization thing?
YouTube's just funny with a lot of crap.
Okay, gotcha.
It's just the ads. It's just the ads, so it's not really a big deal.
But yeah, that's just, I want to say to that defender, I don't even know who it was. Didn't even matter. LaVisca just basically leveled the dude. Luckily, he kept his balance, but LaVisca just stood there. Everybody's running to get to the ball, and he's just staring him down.
Call him out though.
Oh yeah, but from an entertainment perspective, that is exactly the attitude I want him to have.
Fantastic stuff. My name's Tony Dunn. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. I do it with my homeboys. Cody Lashley's my wheelman. Tell them how they can get after you.
Yeah, find me on Twitter at CodyLac, CodyLac. And yes, people in the chat room were asking if there is going to be a Friday free-for-all. There absolutely will be, but I'm going to give y'all a warning. I'm going to be halfway checked out, at least once it gets to be 8 o'clock. because my Clemson Tigers are playing their last game of the season. So it might be me just hooting and hollering and cussing at my Clemson Tigers. Pickle will probably be in there, I'm sure, too. We're playing his Tennessee Volunteers. But every Friday at 7 p.m., you have an opportunity to be a part of your podcast, man. If you want to come on the show, let your about these Carolina Panthers, this team we love. Well, the Friday Free for All is your opportunity to do it every Friday at 7 p.m. And that's it, man. That's all for your boy.
CK?
Yeah, you can find me here, obviously, on social media at CoDizzleAllen. Now the Madden Sim we've been pretty consistent with. We didn't get it done last week. I didn't have power, as I just mentioned.
Yep.
And so this week it's New Year's Eve on Saturday. I'm happy to do it, and I'm like, if as long as my wife hasn't already made plans, I'm maybe down to do a New Year's Eve countdown to the New Year's as well on top of it. So if anybody's interested in that, feel free to put that in the chat or tag us in some tweets and let us know that you're interested in hanging out and maybe enjoying the New Year's, bringing in the New Year's with us. If you have no plans, which I know a lot of people don't. Yeah, just let us know.
Subscribe. Check us out on all the iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, all those places. Cody Lack, take us out of here.
C3 Panther Nation. Until next time, keep pounding.